HD2 Miami, WKIS HD2 Boca Raton, an Odyssey sports station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Game Day, Uncensored, Post-Game Edition.
We keep rolling. Don't be stressed. Y'all know what's online.
Recapping the Fins game. Real reaction, real opinions, real talk for real fans.
That sounds amazing.
On AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
I can't believe it happened 2 weeks in a row. The Dolphins foiled by a last-second field goal. This one hurt even more because it felt like the Dolphins today were the better team on the field. Tyler Bass, in case you're keeping track, is Buffalo's kicker, who can't make an extra point earlier in the game. No worries. 61 yards in Buffalo with wind, no problem. Splits the uprights with room to spare. Dolphins get it done to them again. As I was watching the game towards the end, I said to myself, the Dolphins, they have a new identity. They're a running team. Only problem with that today, the Buffalo Bills have an old identity. The same identity they've had since 2016, and that's we own the Miami Dolphins. And that's exactly what they did today. Got outplayed at home and still won the game because they're the Buffalo Bills and we are the Miami Dolphins. I'm Dan Day, by the way. Thanks for joining me. Robert Grieper along with me. You kind of felt as though it was going to come down to the last play or two of the game. And Buffalo really wasn't very impressive here and there. They got bailed out by a penalty. Jordan Poyer, thanks for helping out your old team and not your new team. Unsportsmanlike conduct, leading with his helmet on a pass that I thought Cam Smith had defended pretty well. They get a couple of more yards here, there, everywhere. Have to settle on a 61-yard field goal. Oh, yeah, Mike McDaniel. You had an extra timeout. How about ice the kicker? Ice the kicker. What does it hurt? 61 yards. Make Tyler Bass think about it. He's from Yale. He's smarter than we are. Grieper, why would you just what is he going to do with that timeout now in his pocket as he goes back to the locker room after the Dolphins just lost? And I can give you the score of the game. It doesn't matter. The Bills won 30-27. What's he doing with that timeout in his pocket right now?
Maybe it makes him feel good that it's sitting in his pocket right now, because obviously it doesn't make the Dolphin fans feel good, because you go into that game, number one, you had the mistake of Mostert making that fumble in the third quarter, which obviously I think was the turning point of the game right there. Then you have Poyer making a dumb headshot right at the end of the game, which makes no sense as well. You have Chop Robinson making a horrible false start penalty at that time of the game. Could you imagine if it was 3rd and 14 instead of 3rd and 9 at that time?
Yes, that would have made a big difference. It was 3rd and 14. Buffalo could not move the ball. Didn't seem like they really had any idea. Looked like they were kind of, as they say, nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, kind of circling the wagons, looking for a little bit of overtime. Chop Robinson got a sack on the play before. Then he goes off sides on the next play. You can't fault the hustle, but you can fault the mistake. It's 3rd and 9 instead of 3rd and 14. And I think any all-pro and maybe even MVP category quarterback will tell you 3rd and 9 is a whole lot different than 3rd and 14. I did not want to be upset today. I actually liked the way the Dolphins played. I thought the Dolphins outplayed the Bills. But, oh, yeah, Buffalo woke up and said, oh, yeah, we're the Buffalo Bills. We'll figure it out. Like I said, the Dolphins have a new identity. They're a running team. We didn't see Jalen Waddle. We forgot he was even on the team until the very last 2 minutes of the game. Came up with a touchdown pass. Didn't even do the Waddle because he knew better. Tyreek Hill made some plays here and there, but this is a running team. Not a bad thing to be in this NFL. The only problem is Buffalo has that old identity of we own the Miami Dolphins. Oh, yeah, and we own the AFC East. And now the Dolphins, you played a really good game, but you got a whole lot of nothing. What's the option? By the way, November 5th isn't just election day, it's the trade deadline. And you could say, well, look, we're trending in the right direction. Are we? Are we trending in the right direction, finding ways to get beat? And I won't say they lost this game. They didn't help themselves. And Buffalo sure didn't help themselves very much either. 61-yard field goal and conditions with, it's Buffalo. It's a little cool. It's a little windy. Not terrible. Oh, I want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. Call in now. We're going to get you on the phone. It's a therapy session. It's a get it out of your system session. It's maybe congratulate the team for playing their, was this our best game of the year this year today? Unfortunately, the Dolphins are ruined their best game of the year so far this year because the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins are the Miami Dolphins. And for years, I've worked with multiple sports teams, especially in football, whether it's the New Orleans Saints, whether it's the Miami Dolphins, whether it is the whatever Oakland Raiders at the time, whether it's been the LSU Tigers. And guys always say this, and you used to see teams that are not very good, like the Dolphins so far this year, playing really good teams. You're like, how did they outplay you and still lose? And they tell me this over and over and over again. Many a football player says, good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose.
And not even that, but the Dolphins have dug themselves such a deep hole already this season. You have no room for mistakes at this point.
Well, you've been beat by Buffalo twice now. So that no tiebreaker, that's like a 3-game lead on you. Even if you do go and win out, it's still almost impossible to catch Buffalo now.
Well, not even that, but playoffs. How are you going to even make the playoffs at this point? I mean, you would have to pretty much run the table from this point forward to make it into the playoffs to get probably beat in the wild card game. But still, the way you're at right now, you have no room for any mistakes right now. And
I mean,
as you mentioned earlier,
Reaper, it might be too late.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It might be too late to even no room for mistakes. You maybe have run out of everything.
But here's the thing, as you mentioned earlier, is that the Dolphins team has become a running team.
They are a running
As you
team.
saw, Achane, Mostert, extremely productive, the two of them.
Stop it. Stop the presses right now. We kind of said it last week, Grieper. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa, Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell, Odell Beckham Jr., Jonnu Smith. They are not the best player on this team. The best player on this Dolphins team is your second-year running back out of Texas A&M, Devon Achane. He has been a monster. He is your best player. He is the guy now. When it gets down to crunch time, we need to get him the ball. Kind of shied away from him in the end. Luckily, Waddle caught the touchdown pass. 305-567-0560. Going to the phone lines right away. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bob, North Miami.
Bob, bring it. What you got?
Listen, the coaching decisions, what are you doing? You said it already. 5 seconds left, and you want to do what with that timeout?
He tried to almost call the timeout on the third down, but decided to save it, hopefully for the field goal, and doesn't use it on the field goal. What's Mike McDaniel thinking? I want to hear what in the world is he thinking?
Not only this, you got twice, and that thing you just made, the other touchdown was caused by a third down penalty, gave him 5 yards, and automatically kept the drive alive and give it. I mean, little mistake. This is coaching problem when you make a mistake. Don Shula coach teams did not make these little mistakes. They were the least penalized team in the NFL. We're leading the NFL right now with 7 freaking fumbles. That's a team that is loose-goose coaching.
Bob,
that's ridiculous.
You got a point. You got me going. And when you see a team making these mental errors, making these mental mistakes, making these little mistakes like Chop Robinson going offsides, another on a third down with, the egregious Jordan Poyer, unsportsmanlike conduct, that's a lack of discipline from your coaching staff. And, what's Mike McDaniel known for? Being buddy and how your feelings and this and this and this. Maybe we need somebody to, I'm just going to say, crack the whip a little bit more. I'm frustrated just like you, Bob.
Yeah, the season is over.
Are you done now? I mean, are we done? Is there a chance? Do you see any way that this team is going to find a way?
Listen, you got to win the rest of them to even finish 10-7.
And Buffalo's got the double tiebreaker over you. They've won both games against you.
Look at the teams. How many teams are ahead of us right now?
Yeah,
we
everybody.
have to hope for everybody to lose And for us to come around, first of all, the biggest mistake, and let's not mistake that this team was built by Chris Grier. He has to be held responsible. He hired this coach. He didn't change the offensive line. He got his old players, and he gave a $200 million contract to the guy who was one hit from concussion.
Did you feel as though there was any chance at Buffalo when they got the ball with whatever minute 38 left that they weren't going to find some way to score?
I knew they were going to make it because they're Buffalo.
They didn't do a great job of it. They didn't go right down the field and kick a field goal. They kind of fumbled and bumbled and mumbled and backed their way into a 61-yard field goal.
But the referees really gave them a lot of questionable calls. The other way, I saw a lot of holding on them.
There was a lot of holding, yeah. I did see that.
They called nothing. But as soon as we touched them, they would call it on us. If you play that Poyer over and over, he did not lead with his head. He led with his shoulder, but his helmet touched him. And I think that was over.
Yeah, but in live action, it probably looked a lot. I remember right when they threw the flag, I was like, they got him.
This kind of stuff that happens, it should go into review that you should challenge it. I know we don't have that now, but because it goes bang, bang, bang in front of a home crowd, they're going to throw the flag.
I hear you,
and there's
Bob.
no way to look at it again.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. I'm frustrated just like Bob. Calls don't always go your way, but sometimes you don't help yourself. And like I said, I didn't think Buffalo helped themselves all that much. You think, with a minute 38, they're just going to get 50, 60 yards and kick a chip shot field goal. They struggled. They got bailed out by a couple of penalties, by the unsportsmanlike conduct. But once again, they're Buffalo, and we're Miami. Haven't won there since 2016 up in Buffalo, and that's going to continue for yet another year. 305-567-0560, taking your calls, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Neil in California.
Oh, Neil. Thank goodness you didn't make the trip this week.
No. And you know what? I thought it was a valiant effort, but all I can come in with this time is that Chris Grier has to go. And point being, Mac Hollins. I remember Mac Hollins being on the Dolphins, and the guy was 7'11". He's open all the time, made that amazing catch against the Raiders to put us in field goal range, that one, miraculous play. And then we let that guy go away. I don't get it. He
came back to bite us today.
He came back to bite us today. And you know what? Who makes the decision to let players go? Chris Grier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mac Hollins had a big day. Cam Smith was all over him. Plenty of penalties right there again for Cam Smith, although kind of tightened it up towards the end of the game. But man, I just am bewildered at how both teams play. I mean, am I wrong by saying this is the best game the Dolphins have played all season long?
Go to Buffalo and play them tight and lose on a 61-yard field goal. That's tough, but season's over. Okay,
I want to ask you this, and I was talking about with Grieper. And I guess it's a moot point now, but I would have gone for 2 no matter what. I don't care. I would have gone for 2. I'd have been like, enough's enough. Let's go. But I think there was too much time on the clock. If there's only had been like 20 or 30 seconds left, they wouldn't have kicked the extra point. But, right now I'm saying that just because I'm upset. They would have still lost, by the way.
Yeah, it's a bad loss. We take it on the chin, and, we'll come back next year, and hopefully we do something better. But
is the season done?
This was the year. We sold out. We're done. We're done. There's too many we had to go to Green Bay. We got San Francisco coming. 2 games against the Miracle Jets. I don't know how many Hail Marys Aaron Rodgers is going to throw on us. It's going to be.
And we've dug a hole. We've dug ourselves so deep now. And this one it seemed like it was our, do or die, season ending. Season's either going to go on and up after this with the win or downward with a loss. We threw the kitchen sink at them, and once again, it was Buffalo versus Miami.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Get one of those padded helmets and put it on tour for the rest of the season.
He's very mobile. For someone that's suffering that many concussions and is possibly 1 concussion away from ending his career, he was mobile today, running around that last touchdown pass. He was running around. I was like, ooh. A little scary times, man. But yeah, tough times at Great Dolphins fan today. Losing by not a last second, but 5 seconds left. Buffalo's kicker, Tyler Bass, 61 yards. Can't make an extra point, but he can make the big 61-yard kick with the game on the line. Mike McDaniel decides not to call timeout. Why would you want to ice the kicker from 61 yards away? Doesn't call timeout on the third down either. And that was a terrible third down play by Buffalo. Nonetheless,
Well, that's
305.
because you could carry over the timeout to the next game, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No.
Maybe he thought he'd save it for overtime.
Oh.
That also doesn't work, Mr. McDaniel. 305-567-0560. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man?
I'm just frustrated,
like
man.
Last caller, I'm calling from South Carolina. As the last caller said, season's over. Josh Allen is our daddy. He's going to continue to beat us. Grier's got to go, and this regime has got to go. The season is over. If any Dolphin fans have the thing of that they think the Dolphins are going to do anything, the season is over. Just play out the season. This regime has got to go. Grier has got to go tomorrow. When is Ross going to realize that this ain't working? He doesn't know how to draft. He doesn't know how to get players. He lets good players go. This team, I've been a Dolphin fan since I can started watching football. I've gone and seen Marino when I was living in Miami. I've seen Shula's years. This team's got to change somehow. Ross has got to do something. This team has got to change.
You bring up a good point. You are deep in a hole at 2-6. You've already lost 2 games to Buffalo. Even if you do miraculously, when I say win out or win almost all the rest of your games, and if for some reason you make it into the playoffs, you're still going to have to face Buffalo in the playoffs, and you know you can't beat Buffalo. So what are we doing here? What are we doing here right now?
It's just I feel sorry for the Dolphin fans. I'm a true diehard Dolphin fan, but I've just canceled the season out completely.
Oh, man. It is tough times right now if you are a Dolphins fan, especially that you just cannot beat the Bills. You outplayed them today. You had the better quarterback, the better team, you better rushing attack. It seemed like you were better in every aspect of the game except on the scoreboard. 305-567-0560. Is this my duty right now?
Oh, you know right, Dandy.
Duty, break it down. What you got, man? Get it off your chest.
Well, first of all, where you at?
Oh, man, I'm not doing too good right now, bro. This last-second field goal business has to stop with the Dolphins. Where you at?
Oh, that's unbelievable. It's same here, man. It's ridiculous. Like, we looked like we were dominating for a good portion of the game, man. Now, let's just blow it up, dude. We're
You ready?
done.
Is it time to blow it up? I mean, 2-6, can't beat Buffalo.
I think so. Like, I mean, what do we have to hold on to? We have what, 2 in for another five years and $200 million plus. Like, I mean, what are we doing here? Like, if we're not looking to actually, like, what? Oh, yeah, we win out right. That's not going to happen. And if we do, we're still not win the division. Like, Buffalo's still there. There's no point. So yeah, at this point, we kind of have to blow it up. And it sucks to have to say that, but it's the truth. It sucks, man. I mean, I'm surprised I was named Dan because I was born the year after Daniel was drafted. So, I mean, we have nothing to look forward to until last year, and then last year blew up at the end. I mean, you beat Tennessee and you hold Pittsburgh at home in the playoffs, and then no.
Your phone's breaking up right there. That's my duty right there. He's like most Dolphins fans. What's the point? What's the point?
Man, his phone is breaking up there. Like the Dolphins need to be done.
305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jason calling from Fort Lauderdale.
James, what you got?
Jason.
Oh,
no
Jason,
worries,
what
no
you
worries.
got, brother?
It's all good. Listen, man, I hear everybody's gripes. I've been a long-time Dolphin fan since the 70s. And with this particular game, we know that penalties killed us, number one. If it wasn't for the fact that Jordan Poyer got that penalty or whatever towards the end of the game, the Dolphins probably won this game. You see that everybody saw this game. And in this game, the Dolphins came to play. Tua came to play. Now, I want to pile on the Dolphins as much as anybody else, but I want to try to give credit and just think about, ever since Tua came back, the Dolphins have been playing, a lot better, even though they haven't gotten over the hump. And I know the trade deadline is right around the corner, and I know everybody wants to blow the team up. But if you blow it up, what do you get back? You know what I mean? You can trade guys and just have a wholesale sale at the trade deadline. but what do you get back? I mean, because I can guarantee you, if Buffalo loses the next few games, and let's just say by some freak chance that the Dolphins get a wild card or get in the playoffs, it's going to be the same situation as Game 6 when the Miami Heat were playing the San Antonio Spurs and everybody left the AAA. When they came back, everybody came back in and wanted to be a part of the organization. They wanted to be fans again. So, I get the frustration, man. But had it not been for Tua getting injured, the second game of the season, I just don't think we'd be in this situation right now. The Dolphins got a lot of great players, and there's a lot of injuries that have hit this team, man. So I'll sit back and listen, brother. You guys take care.
And Jason brings up a good point. All the people that say, blow it up. At what cost, though? What, trade Tua with that huge contract? And there's nobody out there that you possibly could get that's any better, that's proven. No one can get a draft. There's no guarantees that Cam Ward's going to be a great pro quarterback or any of the guys in college are going to be great quarterbacks. So that's off the table. Tyreek Hill, that's a huge contract. You see what wide receivers go for nowadays? You're lucky to get third round picks. So you want to trade Tyreek Hill for a third or second round pick? That's nothing guaranteed. Jalen Waddle, blow him up. He didn't do anything till the last 2 minutes. Huge contract once again. Is there anybody out there that you can get that has 1,000 yards every year that they played? He's not going to get it this year, but nonetheless, not that easy. Jalen Ramsey, big interception today, by the way. Blow it up. He's got a contract extension. What are you getting in return? You're not getting your value on return. So when you sit there and say blow it up, in theory, it sounds like a good idea, but it's maybe not as logical or as advantageous as you might think it is.
Yeah, but the main thing is I don't see it as blowing up the roster. I see it more of blowing up the organization.
You got to
get what they need to do.
Yeah, they can't get a bunch of draft picks and this is all Chris Grier picking these guys.
I mean, so that's where the issue comes in is that, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's basically exactly what's going on around
I was going insane today because we were doing the same thing that we always do to Buffalo. Well, not always. Yeah. Playing well and finding a way, or they find a way to beat us. And I keep thinking there's going to be a different outcome, and there never is.
As the caller just mentioned, the Tua injury was huge, but the bigger one was not having a capable backup quarterback on this roster. When they made that move in the offseason to cut Mike White and leave Skyler as your backup quarterback, that was the downfall of the team right there. Yeah. Also, the big problem is, and I don't understand this one, is that you have a specific offense with a specific roster here, and yet you don't bring in a backup quarterback that could play this game, which makes no sense in the world to me. That's why I blame Chris Grier and I blame Mike McDaniel for basically the roster composition and the schemes of this team, which makes no sense.
Dolphins fan, am I crazy? I look at every week they get me. I really thought they were going to go in today and beat Buffalo, and it's going to turn the season around. And they, lo and behold, went out there and played their best game of the season. And lo and behold, Buffalo did what Buffalo does to the Miami Dolphins. I thought last week, Tua's back. We're going to get the Cardinals. Cardinals aren't that great. Last second, Cardinals kick a field goal. I thought the Colts, and we know Anthony Richardson. Okay, we can say it now. He's a bum. We knew he was a bum. We just didn't want to say anything about it. He's a bum. Thought, we'll find a way, or maybe they'll try to stick in Joe Flacco and it'll be too late. Nope. They beat us. Patriots, we barely win. I thought we'd win that game. Titans, I thought we'd find a way to win. Mason Rudolph, congratulations. The Titans won their second game today against New England, another team that we beat. Seattle, okay, I kind of thought that was a loss. Thought we beat the Bills the second game of the year. I really did, because we built for this. This was the goal. This is the year. Second game of the season at home. Monday Night Football. They get me every week. And now you say, okay, next game. Monday Night Football, November 11th against the Rams. And I'm sitting here and I'm doing it again, Grieper. Look, we showed improvement the past 2 weeks on offense. We got a running game. Tua's getting more comfortable. Tyreek Hill's getting the ball more. We'll go in there and beat the Rams. Then the next week, the Raiders. Look, the Raiders are terrible. They got skull drugged by the Bengals today. That's a 2-game winning streak. The Patriots, we can beat the Patriots. We've already beaten them. That's a 3-game win streak. The Packers on Thanksgiving night. Happy Thanksgiving. The Jets are going to jet. We'll beat the Jets. The Texans. We saw the Texans get killed by the Jets. The 49ers. By December 22nd, the 49ers are going to be pretty good. The Browns, they came back down to earth today. And they got beat. And you get the Jets the last game of the season, which possibly could be a winner-go-home game. I'm doing it again.
Yeah, but nine wins isn't even going to be good enough at this point.
I'm doing it again.
I mean, I love the happy horse manure, but the problem is unfortunately, remember, you have the same guy calling the plays, you have the same coaches coaching this team up right now, the same ones that didn't call a timeout, the same ones that have Chop Robinson jumping off sides with Josh Allen there, the same one having Jordan Poyer headhunting. Although I do like the move today, if you noticed, not having David Long out there was an improvement. At least that's the way I look at it. I don't care what they want to say about injury and everything to that effect. He was hurting you out there on that field the previous couple of games. So
I'm very excited. Later on, we are going to hear from Mike McDaniel, and I'm guessing one of the questions will be, why didn't you feel the need to call that timeout and ice the kicker in one way, shape, or form? What were you thinking? Oh, and by the way, the last play of the game, in case, I'm getting too excited ahead of myself, they ran a flea flicker type, not even a Hail Mary. We see the Hail Mary sometimes works. Heaven forbid Jaden Daniels, a rookie, can come in and do it. Now, I know we did have a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. We had 70 yards to go, but they throw a 4-yard out, and then they toss it back to Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle runs back about 20 yards and then gets tackled. That's the most creative offensive mind we got right there. I don't even think that's a drawn-up play. That's just throw it out there. I don't know. We'll take more of your calls. I want to hear from you. We're going till 7:30 tonight, and we got plenty to go till 7:30. 305-567-0560 on another day. The Dolphins lose to the Bills. On another day, the Dolphins lose at the last second to a field goal. On another day where we have questions about this coaching staff, this front office, and this personnel. We'll have another segment next, though. This is Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
Uncensored, post-game edition on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Let's stay a little positive. Let's give some kudos out. First and foremost, you got to give kudos where kudos are due. This much maligned offensive line for the Miami Dolphins, couldn't ask anything more from them, to be honest with you, for the most part. Tua clean all day long. The running game has become integral part of this team, if not the best part of this team and the best part of this offense. And everyone wants to bag on them and has been wanting to bag on them. I don't know, man. 373 total yards, 224 passing yards, rushing yards. Once again, so close to another 150-yard game, 149 rushing yards. Offensive line, give them credit. They were good. They've been good these past 2 days. Now, part of it is, too, it gets the ball out really quick, but still, the run game is what we are now. It's our identity. Devon Achane, 63 yards rushing. Tyreek Hill led the team with receptions, 4 receptions, 80 yards. Jalen Waddle was nowhere to be found until the last 2 minutes, but he made it count when it did need to be counted. He caught 2 passes, and he had that 1 touchdown catch. Odell Beckham Jr. caught his first pass of the season. He caught actually 3 of them today, 3 for 15 yards. I know, small celebration right there. 305-567-0560. Eric, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm going to be quick. My whole thing was, blow it up. But one of y'all just made a valid point. What's the purpose of blowing it up? We go get all the picks and everything. But at the same time, it'll still be Chris Grier that's doing the picking. So the thing is, the realest conversation that needs to be had is, when is Stephen Ross going to get tired of Chris Grier?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Grier's been in Stephen Ross's ear for years, man. So the thing is, it's going to be to the point of when he gets tired of Chris Grier, because that's the whole key to this whole thing, man. He could go out and trade everybody and get draft picks, but as long as he's doing the picking, it's still null and void. So until he has this serious conversation, say, you know what, I'm tired of Chris Grier. Hey, it's still going to be Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel there, straight up. So honestly, we're going to still be in the same situation for a few years, man, until this man look this dude in the eye and say, you know what, dude, you've been lying to me. I'm tired of it. We're still in that same boat, man. That's just being real. And look at it like this. Calais Campbell, your oldest player, is your best player on defense.
Yeah.
There's a problem, dude.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
He's basically a one-year rental, because this is probably his last season. He came just to kind of retire at home here in Miami. But yeah, something's got to change. Right. As we always say, the streets need a body. Something's got to change.
But it's not going to happen until he could, like I said, Chris had Stephen Ross is there for years now, man, and that's the key piece that's kind of holding everything together. So, hey, man, we could go get 2 picks for Tyreek. You go get a couple of picks for Jalen. You could go get a couple of picks for whoever else. But guess who's doing the picking? Who's the chef in the kitchen?
Yep.
It's Chris Grier. So
yep, that's the thing.
That's all I got to say, man.
I agree with you. You're going to hit or miss on some. I do understand that. Every GM hits or misses on some, but it's some of the guys that you get. It's kind of the way you build a team. A lot of that's going on. And like I said, someone needs to be blamed. Mike McDaniel's coaching has not been super great, although you see that now the guys are getting a little healthier and you got your quarterback. You look a little bit smarter. He's not been very imaginative this year. Chris Grier seems to be the one everybody really wants to blame, and can't say he's not the one to blame. If you don't do your job, if you don't do your job very well, you usually get fired. Chris Grier's had some time to do his job well.
Yeah, but the other thing with McDaniel is that look at the mistakes that are being made on this team, game in and game out.
Don't fault the players.
Exactly.
Jordan Poyer, we can get upset with him for the unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of the game. He was trying his best. He did not start that play like, oh, I'm going to go light this guy up with the crown of my helmet. He didn't try to do an unsportsmanlike conduct, but it's the discipline. It's
Chop Robinson.
Chop Robinson got his first sack of his career in the NFL. And then on the next play on a 3rd and 14 is offsides. And he's lucky, because if they would have snapped the ball, they'd have gotten a free play and who knows what would have happened. But when you got a guy who could be the MVP this year in Josh Allen, and who is very creative and very clutch, When he goes from 3rd and 14 and they're going backwards to 3rd and 9, it changes everything. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Nicholas. I'm calling from Wisconsin.
Oh, what part of Wisconsin, Nicholas?
Appleton, Wisconsin. I've been
okay. A little further north. I was in Madison for a while at the University of Wisconsin, so I know the area.
That's cool. I've been a big Dolphin fan for several years. I used to live down in Florida, but it's been really bad with McDaniels. McDaniels and Grier definitely need to get fired, and something's got to change.
Yeah, that would be crazy. How much anger would you have as a Dolphin fan if, let's say, this season plays out where you maybe win half the rest of your games, lose half the rest of your games, and they don't make any changes? They just run it back and say, you know what, we're just going to be healthier next year and we're going to draft a few guys. How angry would you be with this organization?
Oh, very, very upset, very angry. It's just disappointing. Every single year we somehow choke. I mean, we have the talent. We have Tua, we have Hill, Waddle, but then there's, everyone gets injured, unfortunately,
and the coaching staff doesn't know how to use them to their capabilities. That's the problem. Right.
And there's the next man up mentality, but sometimes the next man up is drastically different than the guy that was ahead of him. And I don't know. It feels, and does it feel like we're just a top heavy team?
We should have really won this.
We definitely won that game because we were right in it the whole game.
The crazy part is it was a 61-yard field goal, and McDaniel called it.
He should have called that timeout.
To ice the
kicker. I mean, what is he thinking? It's just poor play calling.
And they didn't even block the field.
They don't. McDaniel doesn't ever. When was the last time McDaniel even did a trick play this year? He didn't.
We've lost several games by last minute field goals, which is crazy.
Yeah, it shows maybe not the mental toughness or even the toughness that we need. And, when things happen, like I said, I don't put it on the players. I thought they played their best game of the year. I thought that they outplayed Buffalo, but you still lost. So what does that come down to? Where does that come down to when the guys on the field are the better team, but you still lose? Questionable.
Intangibles are always key.
Questionable what that means. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Al from Miami.
Al, what's on your mind?
Listen, so I've been watching the Dolphins since David Woodley was the quarterback. And this is probably the last couple of years has been a bunch of fluff and fake for the Dolphins fans to believe that what they have here was anything more than just a show. It's a house of cards, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you get a quarterback. You know he's injured. You draft him injured. You know he comes out here, and although the injuries he's had after that are different, they're more significant because they're head injuries, and you don't recover from that. So the fact that Grier, McDaniels, and whoever is on top didn't account for this, they magically think that after 1 year of not getting injured, that the guy won't get another head concussion. I mean, how stupid is that? You have to be like a total moron that don't understand the game of football to not think that the guy could get hit again in the head, right?
In a contact sport, yes.
Players are going to play, right? So I don't blame Tua for trying to run and do the things and getting concussed. That's what he's going to do. But that's why you have a coach and a GM. And what do? They get, and no disrespect to the other players, but lesser than probably JV football players to back up a guy on a very complicated offense. So you put all your eggs in one basket, and then now what are you going to say? You're going to go to Ross and say, oh, look, I'm sorry, I couldn't control that he got injured. Well, that's part of the game. That's part of coaching. You're supposed to know that. Grier, you're supposed to know that you're going to have some decent backup to run this. It's not like this is not the first time it's happened.
Right.
When Tua got injured 2 years ago, you had the same thing. And what have they done since then? Nothing. Why? Because last year he didn't get injured. And they paid him a boatload of money. And now what? You're stuck with this guy who you probably, if you try to trade him now, probably people will ask you to pay for that salary.
No.
So, you're stuck with this guy. And what do you do now? Your defensive line is absent. Calais Campbell's the only player there. There's really no defensive line, right? The linebackers are suspect. The backups, the cornerback and the secondary, you have maybe Jalen Ramsey, and that's about it. You go and pick up the Poyer, a guy who the Bills cut because he couldn't cut it anymore. But somehow you think he's going to come here and be resurrected and be the player that he was 3 years ago? I mean, that's just the roster's flawed from the beginning to the end. So why are you complaining that your team is doing what it's doing? Injuries are part of the game. You should have accounted for that before you put this team out there. So, it's a good thing I play fantasy football, and I really don't have any Dolphin players in my fantasy team.
Oh, no, put Devon Achane on that team.
No, that's okay. He's not going to do anything else for the rest of the season, but that's all right. Hey, listen, I know that season gone by the wayside, and hopefully they'll clean house. I don't care if they keep McDaniels. I don't care if they keep – definitely they got to get rid of Grier. Whether they keep McDaniel or not, I don't care. But this team is done. They got to do something different.
We say it all the time. Chris Grier, how does he keep his job? And he keeps his job. That does bring up a good point, though. Tua Tagovailoa, injured foot at Alabama, broken hip at Alabama, 4 times concussed in the NFL. They didn't account for any of that, basically, when they cut Mike White and they told us Skylar Thompson, who, honestly, I was trying to be nice when I said he's unproven. He's proven as being a third-string quarterback. When he played as rookie year, he was pretty bad. And then you go get guys off practice squads like Tim Boyle. How Tim Boyle going to beat you? And Tyler Huntley. Don't account for anything that Tua could possibly get hurt because one season. That right there is the reason why people want Chris Grier and they want to shake up in this organization. And you know what? I'm frustrated right now and upset, but I can see why. And you know what? It sounds almost darn logical that maybe something needs to change, and maybe we start with that.
Someone else has to shop for the groceries is the bottom line here. If you look at this roster, it's a flawed roster. Now, mind you, as you knew going into this offseason, you weren't going to be able to re-sign Wilkins. There's just no way that was going to happen.
I understand that.
Robert Hunt, there's no way you're going to re-sign
Andrew Van Ginkel, you could have re-signed that man.
Van Ginkel, you could have, for the money that you spent on Beckham, you could have used that money for Van Ginkel and had him on the roster. But he wanted to go play for his former coach, and he did. So it happens. But the problem is that you only have a certain amount on this roster with the contracts that you've signed long-term already. So to fill the holes on your roster, that's why you had to sign a Calais Campbell for what you signed him for, which was a great signing. But that's because he wanted to be here. I don't know how much of it was, the team going out there and signing him, to like if it was anywhere else, he probably would have gotten a bigger contract.
Thank goodness we went and got Emmanuel Ogbah back after Shaq Barrett apparently saw the writing on the wall and just retired.
Yeah, how does that make you feel?
Emmanuel Ogbah was decent today, I thought.
I'd rather give back $9 million than play for you.
Than play for you guys. I don't like driving across the state. My family's in Tampa Bay. Going to continue to take your calls. It's like a therapy session, or just maybe you positive. We gave the offensive line some flowers. We're positive here. Tua had another good game. The offense looked all right. Jalen Waddle woke up in the last 2 minutes. But overall, I want to hear from you. 305-567-0560. Back after this. Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
Game Day Uncensored, post-game edition on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Lots to be upset with the Miami Dolphins once again losing to the Bills, once again losing by a late, long field goal. The final score 30-27. Want to stay positive, though. Devon Achane has been a man. 12 carries, 63 yards. He rushed for a touchdown. He averaged 5.2 yards per carry. He also led the team with receptions, 8 receptions, 58 yards, and he also caught that touchdown on that screen earlier in the game. So Devon Achane has been the MVP of the team thus far this season. 499, what was I saying? 305-567-0560 is the number to call. Let's go back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey man, it's Mo. Calling from NMB, North Miami Beach.
All right, man.
First thing I wanna harp on, man. It's the I'm not sure who's in charge of like analyzing the talent on the team, but it's bad. I mean, we had no backup quarterback, and I don't know if the coaching staff didn't realize that. That messed up the whole season for us right there. Then we went to go sign Tim Boyle. I don't know why. It was a very bad pickup. Then I want to also talk about the defense, the secondary. If we're a team that we score very fast, and on offense we're supposed to be like a high-flying offense, but on defense we don't have a good secondary at all. So I don't know. I'll go ahead and hang up, and you guys tell me what y'all think.
I thought the defense has been okay this year. Jalen Ramsey had an interception today. Finally, the third interception of the year. Not for him, but for the whole entire team. Zach Sealer, Emmanuel Agba had the other 2 interceptions. And the interception that, first of all, Jalen Ramsey made an unbelievable play, but he also was assisted by the receiver just totally fumbling the ball out, and he made a great play after that. We don't get enough takeaways. We don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. So in the NFL, when you got guys that you give them time and you don't get turnovers, what are you expecting? What are you expecting if your defense can't get takeaways and gives quarterbacks time to make plays with their feet and with their arms? It's not a good recipe.
Well, that first half was looking good, though. If you remember, when they did get the turnover from Ramsey there, they were putting plenty of pressure on Josh Allen. And then I don't know what happened, but you know, like I said, that Mostert turnover, I totally believe that changed the complexion of the game totally there, because you had the chance to go up 2 scores right there. You're in their territory, and then coughs up the ball, and unfortunately, you know, your defense is then made out to go out there to, you know, protect it, and unfortunately, what happened? They go down and score.
Yep, it's the first drive of the second half after you got the kickoff, because you deferred to the second half. Mostert had that fumble, and of course they, like good teams do, and we did a good job too. We got it.
But the way I look at it is that number one, Jordan Poyer, boneheaded play, but he's also playing. I mean, think about it. What does he have left in the tank at this time right now? Number one. Number two is Holland's not there. You know, you got a defense right now that is kind of a mash unit right now, because Sealer's not there, Holland's not there, Long is out, but I think it's actually a bonus that Long was not out there, because he was playing hurt, and I thought he was hurting you by being out there. But you got a big problem on. It's a flawed roster right now, and unfortunately, as you saw right now, Tua's back, things are better, but they're not good enough still. And that's where the problem comes in. You can't overcome the mistakes that you made in this game to win the game. Your coach did not help you. The fumble did not help you. And then just boneheaded mistakes. Those 2 penalties on that last drive that Buffalo had, those are just killers.
It seems like every week we wait for that play to say, uh-oh, that's going to be the one that really hurt us. That's going to be the one today. It was the Mostert fumble. You said, oh, man. Then Mostert fumbled and Alec Ingold fumbled in that Colts game. We said, oh, man. Last week against the Arizona Cardinals, it was the safety snap. Oh, man. start seeing these little things here and there. Now for 3 games in a row that's happened. Now it's like when we play the Rams, I'm going to be waiting for a fumble or an interception or some type of mistake and say, uh-oh. And you could feel the momentum just 100% shift, 100%.
You're just waiting for that next one to drop. And unfortunately, you're snake bitten in the sense that I kind of wonder if you're a player out there right now, things are going well for you and you're kind of waiting for that next thing to go wrong for you. And that's kind of where this team has been, is that Tua goes down. You lose Sealer now for multiple games. I mean, those are 2 of your best players on this roster right now. And I mean, you look at it right now, I think the best of this team could have been with everything that's happened is 4 wins. And imagine if you were in that situation. You're not, though. And so you have no room for mistakes at all from this point forward. One mistake will kill you. And that's unfortunately what happened.
And now you seem to have that mentality of what bad's going to happen now. And maybe that's kind of seeped into the team's psyche. And I just keep saying, oh, man. Going to take more of your phone calls at the top of the hour, 305-567-0560. Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
Sports Station.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Game Day Uncensored Post-Game Edition.
We keep rolling. Don't be stressed. I know what's online.
Recapping the Fins game. Real reaction, real opinions, real talk for real fans.
That sounds amazing.
On AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
Tua Tagovailoa now 1-8 against division rivals, the Buffalo Bills. And if you remember that one victory about 2 years ago, early in the season, where Buffalo kind of ran out of time. But nonetheless, they did win that game. They won that one game. And I keep thinking, this is the one we're going to get over the hump. Earlier this year, week 2, we've been building for this Monday night game. We want to show the world that they don't own us anymore. And they absolutely own us. And they injured our quarterback. Today, we outplayed them on the field. And we still lost to them, 30-27, a 61-yard Tyler Bass field goal with about 5 seconds left. Mike McDaniel did not elect to ice the kicker. We will explain later in the show immediately why he did not decide to use that last time out. Then they run a stupid little, not even Hail Mary play. They run a kind of a trick gimmick, not an uncreative play at the end of the game. I guess they kind of waved the white flag. I'm not waving the white flag, though. I'm riding with these Dolphins throughout. I still feel they have a couple of more wins in them this season. We'll see. How do you feel? 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Chris. I'm calling from Wellington, Florida.
Bring it on, Chris.
Man, it's disappointing to see this team fall apart so late in the game. And it seems to be happening all the time with this team. I've been a fan for 40-plus years, and I don't understand. We have a really good coach. We have really good players, but we can't get something together. That just it doesn't make any sense. I know that we have defensive players injured, but that's not an excuse.
That's part of the game. Everybody's hurt.
It's not an excuse, though.
No, it's not. No excuse. There's no excuse right here. We're not making plays.
Yeah.
I said it last week. When the stage gets big, we seem to get small. I thought we kind of got over that this week. We scored that Jalen Waddle touchdown. Problem was, it was with a minute and 38 seconds left. And you knew Buffalo was going to try to find some way. They didn't do a great job, but they got enough. 61 yards.
Yeah.
It's like, what else can we do?
We can sit there and utilize our Warriors and use Jalen Waddle a little bit more. And target him a little bit more. Maybe sit there and throw people off of Tyreek and sit there and use our running game just like we've been doing. That's fantastic.
Running
game
great.
is fantastic. But Jalen Waddle has been underutilized, and that's not really helping us.
Jalen Waddle didn't get targeted till the last 2 minutes of the game. Caught a pass, got cleated, then he caught a touchdown pass, and it looked like he didn't even celebrate when he caught the touchdown because he knew there was business to be done. But 8 games into the season, okay, now I got my first touchdown. It's not time to dance. It's time to just figure this thing out. And I'm all for maybe outside the box thinking. I'm all for, now, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but instead of throwing that touchdown pass with a minute 38, maybe a run or two here and there and try to run some clock and maybe score with 10 seconds left. Hopefully score with 10 seconds left and go for 2. I'm all for anything against Buffalo. We can't seem to figure them out. It reminds me of this. Andy Roddick. Remember Andy Roddick? Second best player in the world for a couple of years. Couldn't beat Roger Federer to save his life. And I remember one day after a final, he lost to Roger Federer again. He goes, I just can't beat him. I just can't beat him. He goes, I've tried to play differently. I've tried everything. I just think it comes down to he's just better than me and he's going to beat me. And I feel like that as the Dolphins, we did everything. We've got it. We've gone out and even got Buffalo guys on our team. Ciaran Neal had a penalty today too. Also, he used to play for Buffalo. Jordan Poyer gets the penalty. We've tried everything. We outplayed them today. We tried to just outright outplay them, and we still lost. Just can't beat them. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Eddie from Miami.
How's it going, man?
Bad. I hear everybody saying, different things. I mean, if you really look at it, it's bad, but if we didn't fumble these last 3 weeks in a row, I mean, different football games. So I don't think we need to replace the coaching. I just think that Grier needs to go. Odell, I thought Will Fuller was the biggest robbery contract. I don't know. Odell might be second right now because we could have used that money to have a backup quarterback and maybe we would have, been in a different situation. So I don't think it's a coaching change issue. I just think we need to get rid of Grier. And I don't think Ross is going to do it. Ross didn't fire Parcells. He didn't fire Ireland, and it seems like he doesn't want to fire Grier for whatever reason. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to ever happen, but I just think that that's one of our major issues right now.
Yeah, that is one of the things a lot of people saying after this loss, maybe with the trade deadline looming on Tuesday, you might see a totally different team next week, or they might try to blow it up. That's not the Dolphins' way. They don't make these in-season big-time changes. It usually is an off-season thing if they ever are going to make a change, and they seem to be reticent to do that. So I don't think you're going to see a drastically different Dolphins team next week when they go out, or Monday night, or next Monday night when they go out against the Rams. I think you're going to see, for lack of a better term, they're going to play it out. Chris Grier is going to be the general manager for the rest of the season. Tua is going to be our quarterback. Hopefully he stays healthy for the rest of the season. Mike McDaniel is our coach. And then there's not going to be firings of the coaching staff or anything like that. It's just, we're going to play out the way we've played. Now, if there's a silver lining, not much. We have played a lot better with Tua. We went neck and neck with Buffalo in Buffalo, but still, you know what close counts in? Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah. I completely agree. And like I said, the team, we're making stupid mistakes here and there. But if you really look at the last 3 games, I mean, we literally could have won those games. And I just think that we need to get some players healthy, and we need somebody else picking our players in this offseason if we're going to do anything next year.
I hear that. But now, this is now going on 2 years that we've talked about getting players healthy. Is that going to be our crutch from now on? We're going to always say, if we get healthy, you better watch out. 4 years down the road saying the same thing? Like, no more of that. I'm tired of that. If we were healthy, we'd have beaten you. Well, you weren't. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Miami.
Hey, what's going on?
Good. I want to talk about, mine went blank. Flores. Flores. If we had Flores, I think we would have been in a better position. That's just my opinion.
Why do you say that?
Because he was more defensive. Like, the defense right now is not good. The defense is not good right now. And he was not no friendly coach. He was a coach. He wasn't friendly like Coach McDaniels with the players. He was more serious and on point about what he was trying to do. Coach McDaniels is play, man. He's just play.
I hear where you're coming from. With Flores, the team got better as the season went on. When it got to be clutch moments, they seemed to be a little bit tougher. So I can see some of the stuff that you're saying right there, that, it was a different attitude, but also you did yield some type of different results.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my opinion about it.
I understand. No, totally. You're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that see what Brian Flores is doing in Minnesota and what Brian Flores even did here. And they're saying, hey, we acted like he was the worst guy in the world, but he kind of got done dirty in some ways, or he felt he got done dirty. And the fact of the matter is we were always very proud of the team, that the way that he maximized their potential. So I definitely understand that. And he was definitely not a buddy coach. You can ask Tua Tagovailoa about that. Definitely not buddy, but he did maximize his talent, and this team was gritty and tough, especially towards the end of games. Lately, though, a lot of people have been bringing it up, and it's been one of those sticking points. You can see the turning point in games. It's usually the fumble. The Alec Ingold fumble in the red zone, the Raheem Mostert fumble against Indianapolis, the Tua, whatever you want to call it, Aaron Brewer snap, the safety snap, and then today Raheem Mostert's fumble at the very beginning of the second half. It just kind of seemed that it started to snowball down, and it seemed like Buffalo kind of got that glimmer in their eye, like, we got a chance. I got a glimmer in my eye because I want to talk to you. 305-567-0560. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hey.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, go ahead.
How's it going?
I'm a little upset right now. My football team
me
isn't doing
too.
too great.
Well, I mean, just look at the decisions that general manager has made. How do you go into the season with Skylar Thompson, and then how do you sign Tim Boyle? That guy can't even complete a forward pass.
He wasn't a good college quarterback even, so keep that in mind.
Did you see him on the Jets? The year before, we signed this guy to be our backup quarterback. He was awful on the Jets.
Yeah. I remember going into that game.
Joe Flacco was Joe Flacco available?
Possibly.
Yeah. Right.
And we didn't want to touch Garoppolo because he had a 4-game suspension at the beginning of the season. Could have used him though eventually. Could have used him.
There's so many backup quarterbacks that come into the game and they lead their team to victory. Ours couldn't even complete a first down.
It was true.
It completely derailed the season.
Look at some of these teams. The Colts, they're still in contention. They might be starting their backup quarterback, Joe Flacco. The Green Bay Packers, one of the best teams in the league. They're neck and neck right now early against the Detroit Lions 7-3, but they have Malik Willis coming in and win games. Other backups have come in and been successful.
And let's be honest, is Mike McDaniel, I'm tired of hearing him being referred to as an offensive genius.
They've been bad this year. Well,
we have 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. When you're watching that game, are you confident that they're going to pick up a first down?
They actually did pick up a couple 3rd and 2s today and 3rd and 1s. Early in the game, they did not, but I make it a point to see them. They did start converting more, but it seems like forever we were sold this bag of goods. Mike McDaniel, he's a run guy first. He's a run. And now it's exactly what he wants. Run. But it's not yielding any more positive results than anything else.
And we locked all these guys in. We're running it back next year with the same exact group. You have to.
We don't have a lot of choices.
25 years now without a playoff win. How is that acceptable?
No, it's not. And something has to change. If you're crazy to think that, if we just get healthy, everything's going to be different. We're going to be the best team in the league. I'm sorry. That is a flawed mentality.
Let me ask you a question. If in the offseason they fire Grier and McDaniel and they hire a guy like Mike Vrabel and an up-and-coming assistant GM that has a great reputation, would you sign for that right now? Or are you going to run it back with McDaniel again? Because look at his overall record. What has he done? He's 1-6 against playoff teams, and then he can't even beat the bad teams this year.
You know what's scary? That last year could have been Mike McDaniel and this team's ceiling.
It was his ceiling.
It
absolutely was. They got rid of. How do you get rid of Andrew Van Ginkel? The guy was affordable, and he's making plays all over the field.
There's some argument.
How do you let that guy go?
There was some argument that he wanted to go play with Brian Flores in Minnesota. He was a free agent, but we definitely did not step up to the table and offer him the peanuts that he was going to get from any other team either.
They signed like 17 defensive linemen in the offseason. All of them basically wouldn't be playing on any other team. I mean, maybe Hand had a couple good plays today, but this is not a defensive line that's actually going to go and beat the best teams in the AFC in the playoffs.
All you need to know is
road.
We made a mention of it earlier today. Shaq Barrett, he's won a Super Bowl. He's been a pros pro for many years. Decided, nope. You keep your $8 million. I'm going to stay here in Tampa Bay and not play out my final season with the Dolphins. And then all of a sudden now we have to scramble and get Emmanuel Ogbah, who's been good, but maybe we should have looked into that a little deeper when Shaq Barrett said, "Nah, no thanks. I'll pass."
I honestly have a bad feeling that Chop Robinson is going to be another Charles Harris. They swung and missed again. I don't think that this guy is going to be a major impact player in the NFL. And I know he had a 1 sack today, and we're all thinking like, okay, that's great. But he's done absolutely nothing. Let's be honest. He's done nothing. And he's gotten playing time. And Cam Smith,
he's playing.
He's playing. He's nothing. The Chris Grier has swung and missed on so many picks. We had a complete haul of draft picks with that Larry Tunsil trade. Right. And we absolutely have nothing to show for it. And Houston's better than us right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It took years for Austin Jackson to develop. And Noah Igbenogany, he's over there with the Commanders doing whatever. We know he was nobody. Cam Smith, he didn't exactly shine today. Devon Achane, you hit on Devon Achane. You got to admit that.
Okay, yeah, great. Well, that's awesome. So we're going to bring him back again next year?
He's our best player.
And well, no, I'm not saying Achane.
Oh, Grier,
because he hit on
a third round pick from Texas A&M running back.
Exactly. So now we're going to pat Chris Grier on the back because he hit on Achane. How about look at the last 4 or 5 drafts and see how many players were complete and utter misses.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Stephen Ross can bring this guy back. It's enough already.
Something has to be changed. I mean, 24 years without a playoff win and barely going to the playoffs those 24 years. He spottily very going that's not the team. That's not the team we have on the field right now. That's deeper than that. And I thought the guys on the field today, they played their hearts out today. I thought they outplayed the Buffalo Bills. He just got beat by, let's be honest, a better team. Buffalo's a better team. And for all you Josh Allen haters and Buffalo actually sucks and the refs give them all the calls. No. Tua's 1-8 against them. 1-8. They're good. Josh Allen's good. And the referees, whether you like them or not, are trying to call the best game they can call. They don't sit there and wake up in the morning and get together over coffee and go, okay, so let's try to figure out a way we can get Buffalo to win this game today because it's better for us. No, it's not the way it is.
Yeah, but the thing is that the Dolphins, if they didn't beat themselves, they would have won this game.
Don't put yourself in those
positions. Out
positions.
there and make dumb mistakes. If Mostert didn't turn over the ball, if Chop Robinson didn't jump, if Jordan Poyer didn't get go-ahead hunting there, basically, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. We'd be talking about a Dolphin win right now.
That's the difference, and big difference. Kansas City and the Dolphins. When the going gets tough, you just know they're going to make a play. You know Patrick Mahomes is going to find a way. You know Travis Kelce is going to get open. You know that Andy Reid is going to scheme something up. You know that their defense is going to come up with a big play or a stop. When the Dolphins get in a tough situation, it's the opposite. You know they're going to find a way to lose. You know that they're going to let the other team drive down the field. You know that even though it's a 61-yard field goal, for some reason Tyler Bass is going to make it. You just have that feeling it's the opposite way. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's not that maybe the team starts thinking that way. It's in their heads. Like, they have 1 minute, 38 seconds left and they got Josh Allen and the ball. We're in trouble. And actually did a pretty darn good job. Chop Robinson gets the sack, gets the offsides. We stop him. Cam Smith played defense on that pass. Jordan Poyer leads with his helmet. And then you still kind of stop him. 61-yard field goal. Not bad. Mike McDaniel decides not to ice the kicker, and he'll explain later why he decided not to ice the kicker with his last time out. But then the guy walks up there like clockwork, nails a 61-yard field goal with the room to spare, and it's like, that's your Dolphins. Maybe it's the mentality, though. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
James, I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale. How are you, my friend?
James, it's a Sunday fun day, win or lose, but I thought we had this one. I thought for the past 3 weeks we've had it, to be honest with you, but we've lost all 3 games, so not great, but I'm glad to be talking to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, first and foremost, I want to say the Dolphins played their heart out today.
They did.
They killed it. They did as best as they could. Like, there's no shame in losing a game like that.
No. The way they lost to Buffalo earlier this year, there was some shame to that.
Yeah, I mean, Tua got hurt, but again, and that's kind of at least my first point about this whole thing, right? For better or for worse, Tua is holding the franchise hostage, because when I look at the play calling, right, and I look at the way it is, they're almost calling it in a way that's like it's all there to protect Tua. Like they're trying to manage him to a point where they have to try and get him to like the playoffs, but you have to win a game now. If you don't trust him to make throws, like let's say later in the game, or to take that hit and hold on to the ball to get somebody open, then what are we really doing here? Like even last game against the Cardinals, that screen call at the end of the game, that was like a play not to lose call as opposed to play to win.
He made some big plays on that last drive that the Dolphins had the ball, though. He had that run, and then I thought he stood in there a little too long on that Waddle pass, and he could have gotten lit up. So I thought Tua was a little, cavalier with his plane at some point. But I do understand, like, some of the play calling sometimes you think is just to avoid getting hurt rather than to make a play.
Exactly. But again, like, that's one thing. But also I kind of feel like you have a good point about the team and the fact that they fold under pressure. I think they're tough. Like, honestly, like, and not as NFL athletes, because they're tough to play, and they know going in there they're going to get hit. But mentally, like, you usually follow your coach, right? If your coach is an a-hole, you're going to play like an a-hole.
Yeah.
If your coach is a nice guy, you're going to play like a nice guy.
Yeah, look at the Detroit Lions. Look who their coach is.
Oh yeah,
How do you think they play?
like a-holes.
Look at the Miami Heat. Look at their coach. Their coach is smart, savvy, and talented. How do the Miami Heat play? Yeah, you're right. You play like your coach.
Agreed 100%, bro. And
So-
the last thing I want to say,
Please.
real quick, the other caller that was talking about Flores, listen, say what you will. Flores is doing well. Flores, I think he messed up when he was down here too. But I also think the guy knows defense. He knows football. And there's a reason that he's getting cycled again for head coaching, regardless of suing the NFL. Like, when do you ever see that happen?
Yeah. I can tell you one thing, the big difference between Brian Flores, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, the organization, has given him an open checkbook. Brian Flores was given absolutely nothing. Nothing. In fact, they tried to kick him out a couple times. I don't know. You bring up a good point right there. Very good point. Mike McDaniel, whatever you need. Brian Flores, if you have anything of value, we're taking it away. Good point, man. We'll win next week, though, man. We're all winning upward. Thank you so much for the call. We're just frustrated. It's frustrating. We've spent a ton of money. We've got all this talent. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, genius Mike McDaniel, Calais Campbell. He's been fantastic. Zach Sealer's hurt. Jalen Ramsey. And our best player is Devon Achane. And we run all of our offense through Devon Achane. Rightfully so. But there's still no excuse that Jalen Waddle is disappearing for the whole game until the last 2 minutes. There's just no excuse for that. You got to scheme up more, man. You got to scheme up more. Going to take more of your calls. 305-567-0560. We're going to get through this Dolphins loss 2 weeks in a row, foiled by a last-second field goal. Last week it was Arizona, 28-27. This week, 30-27 to the Buffalo Bills. For a while there, we were trading touchdowns and field goals. We were kicking field goals. They were scoring touchdowns. And I was like, it's not a recipe for winning. But still, it was tied with a couple seconds left. 61-yard field goal. Done in by a 61-yard field goal. Back after this, Game Day Uncensored 560 WQAM.
560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
We can't admit this team is much better with number one in the lineup, Tua Tagovailoa. Another game where the Dolphins have scored 27 points. Another game, though, that they lose at the last second to a field goal. Tua 25 for 28. That's efficient. 231 yards, 2 touchdowns. And we're going to get back to your calls, 305-567-0560. Got a couple of texts. One from my cousin, Rob Day, who says, yo, 27 points back-to-back games. The team might have screwed up the whole backup quarterback situation, but you got 27 points back-to-back games. And the defense just got to step up a little bit. It's a little frustrating right now. I understand. Tank for Cam time from the Wolf. Lewis from the Wolfpack says it's tank for Cam time. A lot of people saying that. Once again, though, as good as Cam Ward is for the Miami Hurricanes, there are no guarantees that what you do in college can transfer over to the program. Ryan Leaf and players like that. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying there's no guarantee.
Bryce Young, there you go. Another very, very good example. My dude Seth Gelman says, you seem to be enjoying yourself today. I'm enjoying hanging out. I'm not enjoying the result of this game. And once again, it's to Buffalo. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, what's up?
Hi. Hey, we're calling about the Dolphin. Hey, we're calling about the Dolphin game.
Okay, good. What did you want to talk about?
I just don't understand why everyone's talking about everything about the defense and the quarterback. I mean, the receivers, but Tua dropped another fumble. I mean, he snapped right in his belly today, which was 3 points, and that was the game.
Yeah, if you noticed during the week, Tua kind of took a shot at people saying, for those people that are sitting on their couch eating chips, it's not as easy to catch a snap. And then right at the very beginning of the game, he mishandled a snap, and it was a sack, and it stopped their momentum on the first drive. Yeah,
and that was 3 points. That's the game.
That was the first drive of the game, though.
It was 3 point. It's a 3 point. It's a 3 point. That's a 3 point swing. That was the game. If you want to talk about points, I mean, it's points. You know, the most turnover, 7 points. Tua's points was 3 points. That's 10 points, and we lost by 3. Tua lost the game for us. Once again, another bad handled snap. A guy says he's a shortstop. He's not Judge for the Yankees. He can't catch a fly ball.
Yeah. I did find that Tua took some shots at people, and then on that first drive, they had a little bit of momentum going, and he fumbled the ball, got a sack. It was all of a sudden 2nd and 17, and things just kind of unraveled from there. And it's like, all right, he's going to catch some heat for that. I'm glad you called up and actually called him out on that, because I did want to bring that up. Tua did kind of call everybody out and then didn't back it up by fumbling. Once again, that was early in the game, but it did cost them a lot of momentum on offense. And I felt, oh, man, come on, Tua. You got to be better than that. Special teams also not been so great this year for the Miami Dolphins. They had that punt. The Bills had that punt return. But, hey, let's give, first of all, credit to some of the defense. The defense only gave up 6 points at halftime. Unfortunately, they gave up 24 points in the second half and that 161-yard field goal. I thought the last drive, the defense, outside of the penalties, did an okay job. You thought Josh Allen was going to try to find some crazy, wild Josh Allen type, gunslinger play, and it was never really like that. He got sacked by Chop Robinson. Jordan Poyer kind of bailed him out with that unsportsmanlike conduct. Once again, Jordan Poyer, he didn't do it on purpose. It's a fast game. Things happen. You get caught. I understand that, but you bailed him out. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hello, Dan. How are you? It's Cap for Life.
Cap for Life. Living it, man. Living it. Dolphins are getting better, but it's not showing up in the win column. That's the problem.
Yes, my friend. Yes. Listen, look, I know we're going to get into the debate whether if it was the fumble or was it the Poyer hit that cost us the game. I mean, we're going to have plenty of time to debate that. The reality is kicking in now, man, that are we talking about the draft moving forward, or are we going to be like what Tua said and talk about making a run? And if that's the case, is that fair to the fan base to try to feed us false hope at this point, bro, when things are not looking up?
Cap, if you heard me earlier, I still have this false hope. I'm one of those fans. I think we can beat the Rams on Monday night. I think we can beat the Raiders. I think we can beat the Patriots. That's a 3-game win streak. Packers, maybe not so much, but I still think we're better than the Jets. The Texans, probably not so much. 49ers, not so much, but I still think we can beat the Browns and the Jets again. But the problem is this, Cap. If that is the way it plays out, you're a totally mediocre team that has a totally mediocre draft pick.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like that's been the story of our life, man. Like I get everybody wants to be, let's make a run. But even if we make a run, do you understand that we're probably might not? I mean, anything can happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm the one to preach that. But the more we keep losing these type of games, it's going to be very difficult for me to try to defend the argument of us trying to make a run when the chances of us making the playoffs now are less than 5%.
The chances are really bad right now at 2-6, and you've lost both games to the Bills, and teams that are possibly ahead of you or tied with you, if you possibly could get in that, have already beaten you. So, yeah, and you haven't really beaten a murderer's row yet, Cap. We've kind of just been beaten by some pedestrian teams. Buffalo today is not a pedestrian team, but we were the better team on the field today, I thought. And if you can't win that game, and like I said, what if you do make a run? What if we do miraculously get into the playoffs? We know we can't beat Buffalo. We're probably eventually going to have to face them. You think we could go into Kansas City or on the road even and beat a good team like Baltimore or Kansas City in a playoff game? I don't know. A little bleak.
We're too busy beating ourselves to beat anybody else right now.
It's just, man, that Raheem Mostert fumble to me, I got flashbacks of that safety snap against the Cardinals and the Alec Ingold and Raheem Mostert fumble against the Colts. Like, this is where everything changes. This is where everything starts to go downhill.
I mean, just think about what position you were in that time. Going into the half, you knew you were getting the ball first in the second half. You went into the half up.
10-6.
You were winning.
You're up 10-6. You got the ball and you were driving
and
on
then
the ground.
All of a sudden, the air just came right out of the balloon right then and there. And to me, that was the end of the game right there, because when you saw that, it was so deflated in that time. You were going to go up 2 scores on the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park at Highmark Stadium. And what happens? They go down and score on you. And then there goes your lead. There goes. And I just think of that, and I'm like, oh, no, here we go again. There's a reason why this team now, 24 years without a playoff win, and you saw it right then and there.
Kudos to the guys, though. You get the interception, Jalen Ramsey, great interception, basically on the goal line. You drive 97 yards and make them pay. You stick it to them. You score a touchdown. You get up at halftime, only give up 6 points. You're up 10-6. You fumble. Instead of just totally giving up, you fight back. You come back in the end in the fourth quarter, score 2 touchdowns. You tie the game with 1:36 left. Jalen Waddle wakes up in the last 2 minutes, catches a pass, gets cleated, comes right back, catches a touchdown pass. You tie the game. Chop Robinson gets a sack, then gets a penalty. You stop them, and then on third down, you get the whole Jordan Poyer. But still, Buffalo doesn't really seem like they're just waltzing their way down the field to end the game. They even have to settle for a 61-yard field goal. This team fought. And that's what's even more frustrating. We fought, and we played well, and it wasn't enough. That's what's really frustrating. It's not the fumble. It's not the safety last week. It's not the penalties. It's we threw our best shot today. And it still wasn't enough. And at the end of the day, Buffalo does this number. Told you. We knew. We knew. And Josh Allen wasn't spectacular. Let's not give him credit. He's a dynamic, good player. 25 for 39, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that 1 interception, which really wasn't his fault, although he did audible out and the guy dropped the pass. Tua Tagovailoa, not sensational, very good. 25 for 28, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and it just wasn't enough. That's what's so frustrating, I think. Not that we're paying these guys a ton of money, it's that today we threw our best punch, and it wasn't enough. The past couple of weeks, we've had a loser mentality. When I say loser mentality, it just seems like when things start going wrong, We just get this idea of, oh, God, what next? Oh, no, we're going to find a way to lose. That's a problem. Not having the Jims and Joes and maybe a couple crazy things happening here and there. But when you have that mentality of, instead of when Raheem Mostert fumbles, being like, oh, we'll get it back for you. As a fan, I have this feeling, oh, God, this is it. No doubt Buffalo's going to go down and score and catch momentum, and we're going to have it's an uphill fight from here. And lo and behold, that's what it was. And I'm scared that it's not just a fan base that has that mentality. That's a major problem. That's a major problem. 305-567-0560. Back to the phone lines, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is David from Pompano.
David. Oh, Pompano. I love Pompano Beach, man. You go to Beach House. You go to 26 Degree Brewing. Grieper, where's that cool music venue you go to in Pompano Beach?
Pompano Beach Amphitheater.
Where's the other one? Right there on.
Oh, you also got Piper's Pub.
Piper's Pub. Yeah, man. Okay.
Wrong. Love Pompano. Been here for 5 years now. Can't go wrong.
Really
I
can't.
Just wanted to say that Chris Grier's got to go, and we have to question Mike McDaniels on not calling that timeout before that field goal. I think that would have been huge if he called that right before he kicked it, and then they'd have to kick another field goal.
All right, you want a spoiler alert? I've heard why Mike McDaniel's reasoning for not calling the timeout. Do you want the spoiler alert, or do you want to hear from Mike McDaniel later in the show?
You can tell me.
He said he was anticipating him to miss that field goal, and he wanted that one timeout with 5 seconds left to possibly scheme up something or do something. That was his explanation.
Okay. I'm not really
coming out of
sure
my mouth. It sounds terrible. Now that when I heard it, I thought it was bad. Now that I'm vocalizing it, that's even more stupid. Like, you're going to run a 2-second play, call timeout,
Right.
and then try to throw a Hail Mary.
Yeah, there's not much you can do in 5 seconds. You can't line up after a play.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you had me tell you that, because as it came out of my mouth, I realized how unintelligent of a coaching move that was. Look,
Not
ice the game and
explanation.
worry about it getting him possibly into overtime or extra time. Not that's too much thinking right there. That's way overthinking right there.
Yeah.
And we saw him do that earlier this year with the backup quarterbacks. Instead of simplifying things, they look like deer in the headlights.
Exactly. It could have been a totally different year if we had Mike White instead of Skylar Thompson earlier. But live and you learn, I guess, and we'll see what happens. And I appreciate the time.
I appreciate you hanging in there. Let's go Dolphins. Let's keep winning. 305-567-0560. Up next, we are going to give our player of the game and also go through some stats, and eventually we'll get to a scoreboard, because there's a lot that's going on in the NFL today. We got some slobber knockers that are happening to the north of us, because everything is basically to the north of us, at least here in these United States, here in South Florida. Dolphins do lose again, though, to a team from up north, the Buffalo Bills. We have not won up north in Buffalo since 2016. Haven't really won a lot of games even here against Buffalo since 2016. They own us even when we outplay them. Back after this, 560 WQAM. There are some positives to take away from these games is that Tua is back and the offenses look good. 27 points the past 2 weeks. The only problem is Arizona had 28 last week, and this week Buffalo had 30. Oh, goodness. So we got our offense back. The defense is having some issues. So there you go. I thought both teams kind of grounded out, and our run game has been fantastic. It just hasn't been enough. We're going to get to our JM Lexus player of the game in just a second. We'll take one more phone call, 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Hey, this is Ken from Texas. You there?
Hey, Ken, where are you at in Texas?
Out in Dallas.
Okay, man. Well, glad you're here, man. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. Been following the Dolphins since I lived in Pompano Beach, and it's just one year after another, man. And let me ask you a question. How many times did you hold your breath when you saw Tua back there?
I don't know. I'm resolved now that like what is going to happen is going to happen. Fate will be fate. He's either going to be okay or he's not going to be okay. I will say when he tries to run and he looks as unathletic as possible, I do get a little bit worried about him.
Dude, I had a heart. You could even hear the announcer that one time where, thank God he got the first down, but even the announcer was scared when he scrambled for those 3 yards.
He didn't learn his lesson. He dove head first on that play.
Yeah, and the problem is I mean, I love your optimism, but it's just like everybody's saying, we're doomed, man, because the problem is I love the guy. I love Tua, but he is one hit away from just getting knocked out. Every single game, he's one hit away. So if we get this together, we get that together, we get this together, and then 4 games from here, he could get hit again. And we're just always going to be like living under the weight of that.
You're right. And look, Tua needs to know his value because Tua knows how garbage this team is without him playing and how much better they are with him playing. He might want to take that into account when he dives headfirst for a first down or when he's trying to scramble all over the place, because without him, I'll tell you, this season's lost. It's not, it might already be lost now, but without Tua, this season is lost.
Dude, we're lost, bro. It's I wish it was, but it's not even if he scrambles, dude. I mean, if he just gets hit, I mean, dude, amazing throw, right? When he got through the pocket, he scrambled around in front and found Waddle in the corner there.
Give the offensive line credit. But what about the offensive line? They've been fantastic.
I mean, dude, we all hate Chris Grier, but Grier, he did kind of hold it on that. I mean, they've been holding their own, but the rest of it is just, it's not acceptable. Like everybody said, Joe Rose, right? Every single day before the draft, we need this draft to work. We need to have an impact from this draft.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through the season, and where's the impact from the draft? We got nothing.
Chop Robinson got his first sack today. Patrick Paul has not played at all. Patrick Paul is not playing a lot. Who else? Jalen Wright had a couple of good carries here and there. Mo Kamara is not even really on the team half the time.
Play.
Right. And the rest of them.
And you're right. Jalen Wright he's had his moments, but dude, Chop Robinson, he gets punked. Dude, how many times did he get punked?
He got pancaked a couple times. Grieper and I were watching, and I was like, when he makes a good play, the next play, one time he got thrown into the ground, and they called holding on the guy because he stood on top of him.
Because he stood on top of him, dude.
Not a good look.
It's bad, bro. That's like me at the YMCA trying to play like a 7-foot guy, dude. It ain't going nowhere, dude. Like he looks, I mean, maybe they'll find another position for him, but he just looks so small.
He does look undersized. You have that right.
Yeah. It's like, where is this? So, that was our number 1 pick, man. Right. I mean, that guy, he was our number 1 pick, and we're all saying, hey, we don't have the pass rush, and God bless Jalen Phillips, man. Love that guy to death. You of him forever. But everybody knew drafting him was a risk. We took a roll of the dice, and that's just another one that is, when he's on the field, he's great, but the availability is not there. So now we have no defensive rush, and it's like, what we're doing is commendable, but my God, man, it's rough, dude. It's really rough, man. I appreciate your optimism. Hopefully we'll turn it around, but good God, dude.
A lot of people are upset too. This is the thing, though. If you do kind of turn it around and you win some games this year, you're mediocre at best and still probably not making the playoffs? Is that what you want with what your aspirations for this team were and the money that we're spending? 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's up?
Oh, Duty back, baby.
Hey, what's going on, Duty?
How's my connection this time? We good?
You sound good.
All right. Listen, Dan, you know me, man. I'm the eternal optimist. But where do we go from here, man? It just looks so bad. And now do we rely on Chris Grier to make decisions within the next 2 days to either just detonate the whole thing and try to gain assets for the future and then trust him with those picks? He's made some good picks, decent picks. I'll give you
look
that.
At Devon Achane. He's our best player.
But that's the sad part. The dude gets touched and he falls down. Like, I mean, yeah, he might break a tackle here and there, but he's just, I mean, Jalen Wright, that's a decent pick too. Like, that dude can break a tackle. He can make a move or two and then get, through a hole or so. But it's, I'm sorry. I'm a little deflated here.
I am.
So now what do we do? Like, where do we go from here? Is it detonate it? Because even if we win out, we still have, 6 losses. Like, it's 11-6, and then we still don't win the division. Buffalo's going to win 12 games at least.
Yeah, and you still have to probably go on the road and try to win a playoff game against a team that's probably better than you.
Yeah, and in a place that we will not play well, guaranteed.
Yeah.
What do we do, Dan? What do we do?
You know, Duty, I'd like to say you're going to see some drastic changes, but in my heart of hearts, I don't believe you're going to see much change at all the rest of the season. You're going to see the same team, the same organization, the same play on the field. Maybe a couple of wins here and there, but you're not going to see a drastic difference in this team.
Right. So what do we do? Like, there's no way Chris Grier's not going to get fired tomorrow.
No,
like,
they're not going to do it.
Happen,
they're not
right?
going to do it during the regular season. I just don't see that happening.
Right. So you either give him the power to blow it up, or what do you do? Like,
Duty, you know what you do.
Let him make these decisions.
You do what you've been doing for 24 years. Ah, shucks.
Keep losing. Keep
I ride or die.
mediocre.
No, they want you as a fan base to do what you've done for 24 years. Ah, shucks. I ride or die with this team. We'll get them next year. That's what they want you to do.
When people find out I'm a Dolphins fan, I tell them it's like a terminal illness. Like, I can't shake it. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm ride or die, but I'm mostly die. There's not much ride.
That's the problem. They haven't given you a lot to ride with. Like I said, if you for 24 years, you haven't won a playoff game, but maybe 18 of those 24 years you've made the playoff. Yeah, it's embarrassing that you're losing in the first round, but at least you have a good ride. They haven't given you a lot of rides even to the playoffs in these 24 years.
Right, and last year was the most fun I've had as a Dolphins fan in decades. I had been going to games since Joe Robbie Stadium was built. My dad had season tickets. He gave up his season tickets this year. That was heartbreaking. But obviously, I live up here in Georgia now, as you know. But he had no reason to renew. He was just like, I'm not going anymore. Like, forget this. Even after as good of a season as it was last year, he was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm done.
I'm there with you, Duty. Something's got to change. I don't know what it is, but something's got to change. Unfortunately, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. 305-567-0560. We'll be back after this on 560 WQAM.
Real talk for real fans.
That sounds amazing.
On AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Gameday Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
We do know that this Dolphins offense runs much, much better with Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa is our quarterback. We do know that maybe Tua Tagovailoa wasn't the problem, that maybe he wasn't hyped up by Mike McDaniel. Maybe Mike McDaniel was a little more hyped up and propped up by Tua Tagovailoa. We do know that there is a crossroads this team has now come to. We keep saying it every week, like, we got to win this one or else the season's done. Got to win this one or else the season's done. We said it again this week, and now I'm trying to talk myself into the rest of the way. It's not that hard. It's not as scary as we thought it was going to be. Don't know what's going to happen. If this team's going to change any, not change any. Of course, there's talks of blow it up. Well, we've kind of gone through those options. The real talk is that possibly a team that needs a short-term answer, like a defensive guy like Calais Campbell, because Calais Campbell could possibly retire at the end of the year, or Teron Armstead, they need an offensive lineman. Maybe you could get some assets. But honestly, a guy at the very, very end of their career that's probably going to retire at the end of the year, those two guys would garner a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick. Is that really going to be a game changer? Can't get rid of Tua. There's really no better option. You can draft in the draft somebody, but still keep Tua, because then you're right back where you started with no backup quarterback this year. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's teams out there that need receivers. Are you going to get back in return what you're trading away? I don't know. And then once again, if you do get all this draft capital, is Chris Grier the guy that's going to be making the picks? Why would you tell Chris Grier, go ahead and blow it up? Because if you say that, you're pretty much saying we're blowing everything up. You're not going to have a job at the end of the year. Chris Grier don't want that. And like they said, oh, it's for his legacy. The next job, he can say, look what I did. Look what I did. No, they're going to say, look what you got that point to that you had to blow it up. He wants, and honestly, this is Chris Grier's thinking. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's play out what we got. If I can put together, or we can put together a string of some wins at the end of the season, I can say, look, the roster's good. It just wasn't healthy at the beginning of the year. Never mind that I didn't plan on, maybe putting a little more backing to our players and, a little more depth. No, Chris Grier wants to get a couple of wins down the road so he can say, towards the end, we started figuring it out and healthy. You wait till next year, Dolphins fans. You wait. Like I said, what's the plan here? The plan is this. For the 25th year in a row, we're going to go, or 24th year in a row, we're going to go, we'll get them next year. Love the Dolphins. Love these guys. Frustrated. Oh, yeah, by the way, and this is Game Day Uncensored, so I have friends that have Dolphins season tickets, and they were asked today to go to the Dolphin Stadium and watch the game on the big screen. Now, Grieper, if you're a Dolphins season ticket holder with the season you're going through in the game that before you even knew what happened in this game, and they said, hey, come watch the game on the big screen in the stadium for the experience, what would you say?
How much are you paying me to go there?
Yeah, that's exact. They were like, there's no way I am going to the stadium to watch the game when I could sit at my house and, this train wreck. And it really wasn't a train wreck today. Actually, the best game the Dolphins have played this year. Unfortunately, it was against Buffalo, who owns us. And Buffalo had a 61-yard field goal in their back pocket at the very end of the game. Just like Mike McDaniel had a timeout in his back pocket at the end of the game that he didn't use. That's got to be weighing heavy in that back pocket right now, man. I know he wears some high tailored clothes, but that last timeout that he didn't use has got to be heavy in his pocket.
I mean, the amazing thing is he loves throwing that challenge flag, but for some reason he doesn't like taking that timeout. I don't know why.
Interesting. He almost called timeout before they went for it on third down. Well, not go for it, but it was a third down play. It was a terrible third down play by Buffalo, by the way. Buffalo did their part in trying to lose this game. Give them credit, too. Terrible Josh Allen kind of just stood around and threw the ball nowhere, and the guy, he's 4 yards in front of him. And I was like, they're going to actually try to kick a 61-yard field goal? And you're like, yep. I was like, well, at least we have a timeout. So I kind of looked away. And I was like, wait, I can't look away because I don't think they're going to call the timeout. They're not going to try to ice the kicker. So Mike McDaniel decides not to call timeout and save that timeout so that maybe if we missed the kick, we'd have a timeout and 5 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, but think about that. That last drive, there were 3 strikes on that last drive for the Dolphins. Number 1, Chop Robinson jumping.
Offsides, making it from going from 3rd and 14 to 3rd and 9.
Exactly. Number 2, Jordan Poyer headhunting.
That was on a 3rd down. It would have been 4th down because the pass was incomplete, and it kept the drive alive.
And number 3, holding on to that timeout. I'm sorry, but, there's only so much you could not do correctly in a game and still win. And unfortunately, you're going up against a better team. You knew that going in. You cannot have unforced errors like that and still win a game.
Right. And if for people that are saying, well, you're just magnifying it because it was on the last series. Yeah, we are magnifying it because it cost you a game. You're just magnifying things. When you make 3 serious mistakes on a final drive that ends up with them making a 61-yard field goal. Yeah. Chop Robinson doesn't get the offsides. That now makes it a 66-yard field goal. Last I checked, those don't grow on trees, easy to make.
Although he did have a pretty good leg on that last game.
Yeah, a lot of leg. Okay, so 66-yard field goal. Jordan Poyer doesn't get the 15-yard penalty. I don't have to do the math. That's about an 80-yard field goal, and that's not even getting attempted. And that puts him on 4th down, puts him up against it. Yeah, we're going to magnify that. And by the way, whether Tyler Bass makes or misses the kick, I like to know that I iced him a little bit. I don't think it hurts you. It can only help. I don't know. Am I asking too much? I'm asking too much, Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. Guys left it out there on the field today, though. They played with a lot of heart. They played really hard. I don't fault the guys. Like I said, the penalties, they're going to happen. There's times that you make mistakes or the game just happens so fast you get put in the wrong position. You don't try to make mistakes. They're not trying to make mistakes, but the mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. Let's go through some of the stats right quick, and then in the next segment, we'll get to a scoreboard because, like I said, there's more than just the Dolphins losing to Buffalo again. 61-yard field goal at the very end of the game. Tua Tagovailoa, once again, very efficient. 25 for 28, 231 yards, and 2 touchdowns. One thing, though, about Tua this year, the big play has kind of gone away. And even that big play you saw to Tyreek Hill, even they said it on TV, and Tua, you could see him slapping his hands. If he would have just led him a little bit, that's a touchdown down the sideline late in the game. Like when I say late in the game, in the 3rd, 4th quarter. It's just there hasn't been that big play. Jalen Waddle doesn't get a target until the last 2 minutes of the game. Ends up with a touchdown. But still, these are our 2 big-time guys. We're paying them top 10 wide receiver money. And the production just has not been super great. Devon Achane, like I said, and I'll say it again, he right now is the best player on our team. Tua Tagovailoa is the most valuable player on our team, but Devon Achane is the best player on our team. Devon Achane leading the running charge, 12 carries, 63 yards, 1 touchdown, 5.2 yards per carry. Raheem Mostert, 10 carries, 56 yards, but 1, I'm going to say very costly fumble. I'm not going to say costly. I'm going to say very costly. It shifted momentum in the game, and we started playing from behind after that point. They missed an extra point too. Thought, okay, cool. Well, they came back, scored a touchdown later, and went for 2 and got it. So that kind of a moot point. I thought maybe that missed extra point, maybe things will start breaking the Dolphins' way and we'll win a game by 1 point. Nope, didn't happen. Jalen Wright, the rookie, 6 carries, 18 yards. Malik Washington got that end-around carry, 1 carry, 9 yards, and then Tua Tagovailoa rushed for 3 yards. And once again, diving headfirst against the Bills instead of sliding. But he wanted to get that first down. Can't play scared, I guess. Great play with Waddle, though. He extended the play as much as he could. He could have really taken a lick, but he didn't get hit that hard. But still, those dangerous times. Receiving, Tyreek Hill leads the way as far as yards are concerned. 4 receptions, 80 yards. And like we said, Tua, you lead him a little bit on that pass late in the game on down the sideline. And he has taken that to pay dirt. Devon Achane, the most receptions on the team. So the most rushing yards, most carries, and most receptions. They are wearing that guy out. 8 receptions, 58 yards. He caught that little cool touchdown, that little turnaround curve screen. That was awesome. Jonnu Smith has been pretty solid. 5 receptions, 46 yards. Jonnu Smith had a little extra sauce in this game, pardon the pun. Jonnu Smith earlier this year said Buffalo sucks. The place sucks. Their Buffalo wings aren't even good. You know he really wanted to get in the end zone to kind of stick it in their face. That did not, unfortunately, happen. Odell Beckham Jr. had his best day as a Dolphin today. 3 receptions, 15 yards, and almost fumbled the ball on that third reception, which really would have cost the Dolphins, but his knee was down. Raheem Mostert, 2 receptions, 32 yards. There was a Durham Smythe sighting, although it was a cup of coffee. Not even that. That's giving him too much time. 1 reception for 4 yards. Jalen Waddle, after everything's said and done, 2 receptions for -4 yards, but 1 touchdown. So that was good. Calais Campbell, once again, this man comes pretty much for his final year to play at home. Says he believes this team's a Super Bowl team. You didn't expect him to play as much as he's playing. He's been our best player on defense. He was a man today once again. 6 tackles unassisted. Oh, man. Jordan Poyer had that one really, really costly penalty. He had 2 tackles, 2 assists. Sarah Neal also had a penalty in the game. Chop Robinson got his first sack as a Miami Dolphin. I actually thought Chop Robinson played pretty good today. And look, the book on Chuck Robinson coming out of college is exactly what we're seeing now. He gets close, but he doesn't get home. He did get some pressure on the quarterback. Josh Allen actually had to throw some bad passes today because directly Chop Robinson. But yes, he does get close, but he did get home. He did get that 1 sack. That doesn't change the fact that he looks a little undersized. Emmanuel Agba, I thought it was a sack. It was a designed run for Josh Allen for a loss. They didn't count it as a sack, but it was a tackle for a loss. Malik Washington also had a punt return for -1 yards. Our special teams, there's nothing else you can say other than whatever. Goodness gracious. Jason Sanders went 2 for 2 today. His long was a 39-yard field goal, and Jake Bailey only had 1 punt. The offenses, they had long sustained drives, mainly because the Dolphins' run game is so solid, 149 yards today. That run game and that offensive line that everyone's been given a hard time to, they put it together. Part of it is Tua. I do understand that. But still, they're opening up these holes. These holes are big for these running backs to run through. And I don't know if you saw some of them, but you got to take your hat off to that, man. This offensive line that everybody says is just absolute garbage has actually been very, very good this year so far, recently. There were points in the season. Just it goes to show also how important it is to have a good quarterback that has command of the offense and get you out of the huddle early and get people in the right places. Although there was a couple times this team, remember the penalty with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill where they both lined up wrong and they had to burn a timeout. It didn't matter because we ate a timeout at the end of the game anyway. So what are we going to do? Bills, Josh Allen was Josh Allen making crazy plays. He did turn it over once, although it kind of wasn't his fault. Nonetheless, that was the Jalen Ramsey interception. He had 3 touchdowns today. He had some very creative plays. 25 for 39. That's gunslinging right there. 235 yards. James Cook did not cook us this time. He had 10 carries for 44 yards. Ty Johnson, he had 3 carries for 23 yards. But, man. Oh, and I'm sorry, that wasn't Ty Johnson. Who was it that got that long pass that just cooked us? Actually,
I thought it was Ty Johnson, wasn't it?
Was that Ty Johnson? Let's see. Ray Davis. He had that. He burned us for that 63-yard touchdown pass. Marcus May had a chance to make a tackle, did not make the tackle. They out-schemed us on that play straight up. That was a straight-up out-scheme play. It was just a simple screen, and he just took off and was gone. Then that's when they made the 2-point conversion and made it 20-13, and you felt, oh, goodness gracious. DeMar Hamlin, hey, kudos to him. 8 tackles today, 2 assists. That Taylor Rapp guy was all over the place. He's talking a lot of noise, and he had a lot of noise thrown in his way. I thought he was all over the field for those guys. And kudos to Miami's own Greg Russo. He had 4 tackles, 3 assists, and a sack. He seemed to be all over the field today. He's a great player from the U. He played at Chaminade Madonna. Hate to see him do good against the Dolphins. He is a good player, and he is on a very good Bills team that supposedly was very good against the run. What does that say? The Dolphins, they're a running team now. They seriously are a running team. We got the identity that Mike McDaniel's always wanted. It's still not enough, man. Still not enough. Things were pretty even, Steven, though, for the most part, I thought, throughout the game. Like, as you look at the stats, you kind of see things, and you kind of looked at everything and said, okay, I could see why. Like, total yards, Dolphins 373 yards, Bills 323 yards, 25 yards. Passing yards, Dolphins led in. Bills had 231 yards. We had 224. Rushing yards, once again, 149 yards, almost another 150-yard game. Bills had 94 yards. Yards per play, 6.2 yards per play, and the Bills had 5.5 yards per play. After reading those team stats, you'd say, oh, Dolphins win 30-27. Nope, other way around. That Raheem Mostert fumble. And I mean, granted, it was a tit for a tat because after the interception for Jalen Ramsey, we drove 97 yards and scored a touchdown. We fumbled. That happened. God, man, it felt like the momentum just really changed after that. And then 61-yard field goal at the very end, not the very end of the game, with 5 seconds left in the game and one timeout left for the Miami Dolphins, where they felt as though, go ahead and just let Tyler Bass get in rhythm and kick that kick. Don't make him think about it. Don't make him think about a 61-yard field goal. Just let him go out there and not think. Kick freely. Extra timeout. Does Mike McDaniel bring it home tonight? Hey, kid, honey, look what I brought. I saved you one. We're going to hear from Mike McDaniel in a little bit, for better or for worse. I know some people hate hearing from him. He's, once again, spoiler alert. The first question asked was, why the hell do you still have a timeout? Why did you not use that timeout at the end? No dilly-dallying, no playing around. Defense was good up to halftime. It was a 10-6 game at halftime. Floodgates kind of open for the Bills. It seemed like both teams kind of started figuring things out. The Dolphins realized, let's just run the ball. And then when we soften up the defense, we can start throwing some deeper passes to the likes of Jonnu Smith and Tyreek Hill. Not going to say Jalen Waddle because he only got 2 targets at the very, very end of the game, but he did get that 1 touchdown. The Dolphins do score 14 in the fourth quarter. The only problem is the Bills scored 10, including that 61-yard field goal by Tyler Bass at the very end. And it was painful. Oh, man. Tough times if you're a Dolphins fan. You are now 2-6, and I've told you the road ahead. Okay, well, first of all, the road behind was not a murderer's road, and we're 2-6, but the road ahead is not as murderous as we thought. The Rams, they've been on and off. Maybe you catch them on a Monday night. The Raiders, they've been bad this year, although they've been competitive in a lot of games. Patriots are basura. They lost to the Tennessee Titans today. I can see a 3-game win streak. That still makes you 5-6, but then
Didn't the Dolphins lose to the Titans too?
Dolphins did lose to the Titans 31-12, but Tua wasn't there. Tua, I mean, for a guy that is, and most people will admit, is one concussion away from ending his career. The NFL's even stepped in and says, we have final say on any player coming back from injury, which basically meant if Tua happens again, we're going to have final say. Taking not head dives, but diving head first and extending, I guess, you live your life. Packers on Thanksgiving night. I mean, that's Thanksgiving, but right now it doesn't look pretty, although it doesn't look pretty for the Packers. They're getting whooped by the Detroit Lions at home, 24-3 with about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. The Jets, you never know. The Jets can go out there and beat the Texans, or the Jets can go out there and get beat by New England. So you get 2 more games with the Jets. You get a game against the Texans. I still think the Texans are good. 49ers on December 22nd. I think the 49ers will have started to figure things out by then. Could be wrong. And then the Browns, they're back to earth after 1 win last week. They're not very good. Oh, man. So next week, I'm going to say this. Monday, I'm going to say, this is it. We cannot go 2-7. We cannot lose to the Rams. We can't do it. The season's done. I said that earlier today, but now I'm backing that up saying, crazier things have happened. So next week is do or die for the Dolphins, unless they lose. Then it's the next week against the Raiders when they come to town. And if we lose to the Rams and the Raiders, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. 2-9.
Give them 2 more weeks.
2-9. 2-9. Oh, yeah. 2-9's too much for me, man. There's no. I'm sorry. They're 2-8. There's no 2-8 coming back. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Plus, the Bills got a 2-0. They won both games this year. So yeah. But we have that one game on New England though, who, once again, got beat today by the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans' previous only win was against Miami Dolphins. Offense has been looking better, though. 27 points the past 2 weeks. I'm telling you, if we keep averaging 27 points a game, we're going to get someone. I don't know if you want to, but man, a lot of questions to be asked. And once again, a lot of people are saying, blow it up. It is not that simple. We've gone through it. And at the same time, I don't see that really, really happening. They might maybe trade off Teron Armstead or Calais Campbell, or maybe one of the receivers. It would take a lot, though. But still, do you get back any value? And once again, what's the point of getting all these assets if you're not going to fire Chris Grier? And why would Chris Grier blow it up if he knows he's about to get fired anyway? You're in a tough spot. So,
yeah, I mean, are we at the point of stink for Shador?
we're at the point
Trash for Travis.
We're at the point of now, as a Dolphins fan, I'm going to take it week by week and just play it out. Play it out. I've been so proud of Calais Campbell and Jalen Ramsey. They've just battled all year long. Tua has proven to us that he is our quarterback if he can stay healthy. Devon Achane, he's just a workhorse. I'm focusing now on the players now and less on the team because it's starting to wear me down. I couldn't believe that it happened 2 weeks in a row, getting field goal at the very end of the game when you outplayed the other team, but you made stupid mistakes like fumbles and penalties and undisciplined plays. And by the way, you only targeted Jalen Waddle, one of the highest paid receivers in the league, twice. He caught a touchdown. Tyreek Hill too. I mean, really, if you tell me Tyreek Hill had by the standard of this year, a pretty good game, 4 receptions for 80 yards and no touchdowns, I'd say, oh, okay, that's good compared to some of the other games. Lots of questions to be answered. We're going to get a scoreboard next, catch you up on everything that's happening in the NFL, and continue to try to break down this Dolphins team, which is a huge question mark this year. That is Game Day, Uncensored, 560 WQAM. That is a toughie right there. That's a toughie. But yeah, so even if you make it miraculously to the playoffs, how are you going to beat Kansas City on the road, Buffalo on the road, or Baltimore on the road, or any team that has some type of home field advantage? Because you'll be barely getting in as it is. Oh, goodness. You think you can't beat Buffalo, period, much less on the road. Chiefs, nah. Maybe the Chargers. Can you go out to LA and get that win? I don't know. Steelers? I don't know. I like my chances against a possible Steelers team. Ravens? No. Bengals? No. Bengals got a long way to go. Texans? No. You're already proven you can't go to the Colts and win, although you were without Tua Tagovailoa. So, no. What are we doing here, man? What are we doing? I know what we're doing. We did lose 30-27. Tyler Bass, 61-yard field goal. Goodness, of course. If it would have been any other team that they were playing against, he'd have probably missed it short. But against Miami, room to spare. Let's see what else happened around the NFL, or what's happening around the NFL now, and what happened earlier today. Everybody's excited about that Lions-Packers game. Packers at home. It's rainy. It's nasty. It's not cold, but it's chilly. I think the Packers, oh yeah, they got them right where they want them. Seems like the Lions have everybody pretty much right where they want them. They're beating everybody. They're a really good team. They got a tough, really disciplined coach that, holds people accountable. And yeah, he makes some mistakes too now. Let's not forget about that NFC Championship game last year. Kicked the field goal, Dan Campbell. Nonetheless,
he was a Dolphin coach too.
He was a Dolphins coach, interim coach. Don't need that. No more Oklahoma drills for us. Lions are beating the Packers 24-3 with about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Did not see that come, but don't underestimate Jordan Love. Mr. Can't hit the broadside of the barn for 3 quarters. He can throw for 5 touchdowns in this fourth quarter. So we're going to keep an eye on that game. Seahawks, Rams. Ooh, Seahawks. They skull drug us. Of course, we were with Tim Boyle, Skylar Thompson. We had nobody. We're playing the Rams next week. So a team that whooped us and a team that could whoop us next week. Seahawks are up on the Rams 13-10. That is with about 7:16 left in the third quarter. The Eagles and the Jaguars. The Jaguars have shown signs of life. Maybe Doug Peterson doesn't want to get fired. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is hearing whoa, we're paying you all this money for what? But the Eagles, they are starting to show a lot of signs of life. They've actually been a pretty decent team this year for the most part. The Eagles are beating the Jaguars right now 22-16 with about 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Cardinals, maybe they are for real. Maybe we played a really good game against them and they were just a little bit better. They're 4-4 in the season. They're playing the Chicago Bears, who have been much improved this year. Caleb Williams. Cardinals putting it on the Bears 27-9. That's the beginning of the fourth quarter. Look at those Cardinals. Look at those Cardinals go. Let's see what else Kyler Murray's up to. 11 for 17 with 118 yards. No, that's not great. Not great at all. But nonetheless, James Cooper having a day on the ground. Run game, man. It's important. We know here in Miami, if we didn't have that run game, James Conner, 18 carries, 107 yards. That is a pretty darn good day. Receiving yards, Trey McBride, their tight end, burnt us last week. Not burning us as much this week. Not burning them as much this week. 3 receptions for 35 yards. My dude, Alex, listening right now. I know he's got some family in Chicago. Tough day for the Chicago Bears. Maybe they're still stunned from that Hail Mary that Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders put on them last week. I don't know. Alex, also, you might not want to listen anymore. Your Denver Broncos today. Woo! Baltimore Ravens wanted to make it known that even though they lost last week, they are for real. 41-10 to the Denver Broncos. At one point, it was 10-10. Bo Nix went up and made an athletic catch. Yes, Bo Nix. And then it was all downhill from there. Quarterback shouldn't be catching passes, and that's why you're losing 41-10 to those Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, talk about a nice day. 16 for 19, 280 yards. And 16 for 19, and 3 touchdowns. Derrick Henry is having a resurrection. You kind of knew a class organization like Buffalo would find a way to have a Hall of Famer produce very well. Wow, that's amazing.
Shocking. The Baltimore Ravens actually know how to pick players and actually coach them up.
And actually put them in positions that are advantageous to their skill set. I would like to know another organization that could possibly learn from them. Derrick Henry, 23 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is now the 10th player in NFL history to have 100 or more rushing touchdowns. So, by the way, there was talk in this offseason of trying to go out there and get Derrick Henry. The price tag was just too high. The running game's been pretty good, though.
Although, yeah, his running is that the issue with his roster right now?
Maybe that was a little bit of a pile on. I'll admit that was a little bit of a pile on because Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert, who's still hurt, by the way, they've been doing pretty darn good. Jalen Wright's been good. Tua Tagovailoa thinks he's a running back, and he looks as unathletic as anybody ever when he tries to run. When he passes, no problems. Tua, let's try not dive. Let's not dive. Oh, Bengals, was it a get-right game, or was it just against the Raiders, who the Dolphins will be playing in just a couple of weeks? Bengals, whoop the Raiders. 41-24, lots of turnovers for the Raiders in that game. Joe Burrow, 27 for 39, 251 yards. Get this, 5 touchdowns. 1 interception. Some of those were in trash time, so I can't be totally, whatever. Oh, let's see real quick, though. I always try to keep an eye on some of our former guys. I don't even know if Christian Wilkins is playing. I think he's hurt. Yeah, Christian Wilkins not playing. So, you know what I say about that? Should have paid that man. But so he could have been hurt with us instead of with the Las Vegas Raiders?
Hey, as we always know, what's the best ability? Availability.
True. So many guys. Derrick Rose in the NBA really stands out. Youngest player to ever win an MVP. If he'd have stayed healthy, he'd have broken all the records. Well, guess what he didn't do? Stay healthy. The Falcons, they won 27-21 over the Cowboys, although it wasn't really that close. There were some late points from the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott did leave the game. So, in the Toilet Bowl, played up in Nashville, the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots battled, and the Titans win at the very end of the game in overtime, 20-17. Now, remember, the Titans had only won one game this season. It was against the Dolphins, 31-12 here, by the way, on a Monday night. Patriots, well, they've lost to us, so by a toe, 15-10. We'll get them later in the year, though. Don't worry about that. The Browns, remember, Jameis Winston's in. Jameis be thy name. This season is saved. We're not going to be 1-7 anymore. We're 2-7. Let's go on a win streak. Nope. Los Angeles Chargers, 27-10. That's about as close as it ever was that whole game. Justin Herbert, 18 for 27, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jameis Winston, 26 for 46, 235 yards, 1 touchdown. And oh yeah, he decided to pass it to the other team 3 times. Yeah, that's a recipe for losing. That's a recipe for losing when your backup quarterback is oh wait, I think the Dolphins know about backup quarterbacks playing poorly and how much it hurts your team.
Yeah, but at least he passed for 235 yards. Could you imagine any of the Dolphins' backup quarterbacks passing for that much?
They're trying to get in triple digits, No, there was one game, I think Snoop Huntley had like 170 yards or something.
Wasn't breaking 2, though.
No. That's too much to ask. Commanders were up early and often against the Giants, and the Giants once again put some lipstick on a pig. Another statement that we've been making here in South Florida a lot lately. Commanders, though, they do win 27-22 against the New York Giants, who, look, would you rather be the Dolphins or the Giants? The Dolphins, vastly better than the New York Giants, at least on the field. But record-wise, Giants are 2-7.
And the Giants get out of Daniel Jones' contract coming up here.
Oh, Daniel Jones. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Dolphins, I know you got to fill your backup quarterback position. He is not the answer to your backup situation. 20 for 26, 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, Lord. Jaden Daniels, he is your answer, but ain't no way the Commanders will let him go that rookie contract with what he's doing for that team. 7-2, by the way. 15 for 22, 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, yeah, and he also gives you some mobility. 8 carries, 35 yards. By the way, that team is 7-2 once again. Can't say that enough. 7-2 for a guy that, quote unquote, too small to play. Not the Dolphins didn't say that, but a lot of people were saying that too small. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He's got a small frame. Seems to be working pretty good.
Well, Drew Brees was too small too.
Yeah, Drew Brees was too small and couldn't pass a physical, a.k.a. Nick Saban telling the doctors not to pass him because he wanted Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
That cost the Super Bowl. Well, they gave me a Super Bowl, but it cost us here in South Florida a Super Bowl. Speaking of the New Orleans Saints, they're also now one of the worst teams in the NFL. They started off 2-0, and a lot of people saying through 2 weeks, they're the best team in the NFL. They killed the Carolina Panthers, and they killed Dallas in Dallas. Well, Carolina got revenge today. Carolina Panthers, with Bryce Young, defeat the New Orleans Saints 23-22. The Saints are 2-7 now. Good times in the old Day apartment. You got The Dolphins losing at the last second. They're 2-6. You got the Saints, who haven't won in 7 games, and they got beat by Bryce Young and Carolina Panthers. Sorry, Big Len and Paul Day all day. It's tough watching for all of us. I know. And Thursday night's game was pretty, I don't know. The Jets had some nice catches and some nice plays. We get to meet them twice later this year, especially one on January 5th, which could be win or go home. I don't know if it's going to be win or go home for either team, but nonetheless, Jets did beat the Texans 21-13. Jets lost that previous week to New England. I really thought this could have been our day. Dolphins change their fortunes, go in and beat Buffalo. We know Buffalo, they take on the character of their quarterback who 1 minute looks like the MVP and the next minute bewilders you. Today, he did a little bit of that, but for the most part, he did not bewilder you like, what in the hell is he doing? He made plays. He made some plays, and Buffalo gets a win. And you look at the standings now, and if you're a Dolphins fan, you might want to look away. The Bills are 7-2 in the AFC East, and they've beaten you twice. The Jets are 3-6, and you got them twice this year. Patriots are 2-7. You did beat the Patriots earlier, and you get them one more time this year. Teams you're tied with, if there's a playoff race. Wow. The Titans, they have the tiebreaker, by the way. The Jaguars are 2-6 also. You have the tiebreaker, by the way. The Colts have already beaten you. The Colts are 4-4, so if you get in any situation, don't look now. The Bengals are 4-5. 4-5. Woo. There's no way you're going to catch the Ravens. Steelers, whatever. The Raiders are 2-7, so you kind of have a half a game up on them. You have a game in whatever. Bronco, it's just honestly, no. Playoffs, we have Jim Mora when we need him. I just want to win a game. I don't even want to win a game in Buffalo. I accept it. It's over. Okay, you got us. You win. I just want to win a game. I don't want the Cardinals, although the Cardinals played well today. The Colts, got to keep an eye on the Colts, because Joe Flacco. Anthony Richardson apparently just got tired and took himself out the game the other day. You know what? You shouldn't ever rest when Joe Flacco is out there on the bench, much less ask to come out the game. So Anthony Richardson's maybe career highlight was beating us. And once again, Dolphins, I know you're looking for a backup quarterback situation next year. He is not the answer. He is not the answer. Do not go after him. Oh, so that's kind of what's going on in the NFL. Up next, going to get to some game notes, some of the things that Grieper and I noticed in this Dolphins game where just Buffalo being Buffalo and the Dolphins being the Dolphins. What's this team going to look like going forward? Probably a lot of the same. A couple more wins, though, here and there. Stay optimistic. This is Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
In the next segment, we're going to hear from Mike McDaniel, his post-game presser. Don't you worry. He is going to be called on the floor immediately for taking a timeout home with him. Apparently, figured it would help him in Buffalo to have a timeout in the pocket and not ice the kicker on a 61-yard field goal, which last I checked, Grieper, those aren't the easiest field goals to make, right? They don't call 61-yard field goals at the end of the game to win the game a chip shot, do they?
Yeah, especially outdoors with wind.
Yeah, in Buffalo. Okay. Well, good to know that when you go to bed tonight, you can keep in mind that the Dolphins had one timeout they saved.
Well, maybe he needed the timeout at home. I don't know what's happening at home with him, but maybe he needs time out there.
Might need a timeout with this fan base for some of the stuff he's done. Nonetheless, we'll hear from Mike McDaniel for better or for worse next. But right now, it is time for the JM Lexus Player of the Game. At JM Lexus, it's the perfect time to catch the deal you've been waiting for. As the Golden Opportunity sales event continues, don't miss your opportunity to score even more now at JM Lexus. My JM Lexus Player of the Game, I kind of want to give it to Jalen Ramsey again. What a great interception. What an athletic play. He was in position. The guy still kind of should have caught the ball, but to reach around, wrap around, take the ball. But I'm not going to give it 2 weeks in a row to Jalen Ramsey. And this is going to sound weird, so just stay with me for a minute. I'm going to give the game ball to a different Jalen Waddle. Now you're saying, why? Jalen Waddle had 0 targets going into the last 2 minutes of the game. He did finally make a catch, converted for a first down. He got spiked, so he was bleeding from his calf after it was an inadvertent. A Buffalo player cleated him on his calf. He was bleeding. A lot of people thought it was going to be a really bad injury. Comes back into the game, catches his first touchdown of the season. And for one of the few times this year, and kind of last year too, a Dolphins player that came up clutch when needed. Jason Sanders last year against Dallas, earlier this year against Jacksonville. I can point out a myriad of times that they haven't come up clutch, like Jordan Poyer earlier today and Chop Robinson going outside. Nonetheless, a player that at the end of the game, when needed, not doing anything, almost forgot he was on the team, came out and made 2 big catches, including that touchdown to tie the game and finally get pay dirt. Maybe some good momentum from there. So Jalen Waddle, your numbers weren't great. Your numbers have been bad all year, but you did show up when you were needed and you made the catches. So Jalen Waddle, you get my game ball. Grieper, who do you give your player of the game to?
See, here's the thing for me is that I could have gone with the easy one.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Achane would be the easy one. You got 2 tutties.
He led the team
over 100 yards of offense.
Led the team in rushing and the number of receptions.
I could have done that, but I'm going to kind of bend the rules here a little bit. My game ball is going to the offensive line.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Because the reason being is Tua, clean sheet, not on the ground, number 1. Number 2, the running game was doing amazing again. And to be honest, if you look at all of the things going into the season, what was the number one thing that most of the media and the fans are going after? The offensive line is poorly constructed. It's horrible. It's not going to be good at all. I have to say it's one of the brighter spots of this team this entire year to have guys that are basically put together. Also, the other thing that's amazing is that how many games have they been playing together healthy?
That's it. They said they're starting to gel. They even said that on TV today. I was watching the game. These guys are starting to get healthy. They're starting to get jelly. They're starting to get together. They have their leader back. They today 149 yards. But the new identity of this team is run first, pass second. And that's because this offensive line and these running backs have been doing some heavy lifting.
And to be honest, that's why they deserve the game ball, is because they are the straw that stirs the drink with this Dolphin offense right now. They're pounding the rock. They're protecting Tua. And that's what's making it happen right now.
Right. And if you're just saying, well, Tua gets the ball out fast, that's not the whole story that's to be told. Yes, Tua getting the ball out fast does help the fact that there's not a lot of sacks. Some of the holes that these guys like Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert and Jalen Ryder running through are massive holes. And part of that is Alec Ingold. I understand that. Part of that is I give credit Jalen Waddle and Tua Tagovailoa, not Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. they're blocking their ass off. And I know Tyreek earlier this week said, somebody tweeted at him, I used to love when you made big plays. He goes, now I'm just a blocker. That was a little backhanded right there. But nonetheless, all these guys are blocking hard. This run game is tough. And there's, like you said, the straw that stirs the drink, it's the offensive line. Because if you don't have the offensive line pushing people and open things up, you got nothing.
Yeah, because if Tua didn't have the time that he has back there to make those split-second decisions, if it was, let's say he had 1 second less than what he has right now, they would not be anywhere as successful as they do. If they didn't open up the holes that they are for the running game right now, Achane, Mostert would not be as productive as they are. And you're not seeing the penalties that they used to have. You're not seeing the false starts, the holds that they've been known for in the past. You're not seeing the sacks being given up back there. You're not seeing negative plays.
And to be honest with you, the only 3 times these past 2 games I've held my breath with Tua Tagovailoa is when he's taken the initiative to run. When he went to do the slide against the Cardinals, that's not on the offensive line. In fact, the offensive line blocked the hell out of that play. And then today, when he did the head first dive for the first down, that's not on the offensive line. He chose to run. And then on that pass to Waddle, where he was extending, and got it done, he had a lot of time to extend that play. So the only times I've held my breath in the past 2 games, and I thought I was going to have to hold my breath a lot with Tua because I'm nervous, was through Tua's doing and not the offensive line.
Exactly. And even when Tua did that slide today,
that wasn't a slide.
The defense wasn't around. So that's where I was like, okay, I'm okay with the head first slide there when no one's going to be giving him a headshot right then and there. So
right. I think the league's a little, do you want to be that guy though? No. You don't want to be the guy that puts Tua into another concussion. I'm not saying that this league's full of nice guys, but a little too soon.
Well, is there enough bubble wrap for Tua right now? I mean, seriously?
I don't know. But Tua, definitely, this offense is definitely different with Tua. The offensive line is better. The running backs are better. The receivers are better. They're still not up to what I thought they were going to be. And maybe that's just because last year we saw so much and we expect so much from them. But, I mean, look at it's a tough game to play. I understand. But the return on investment with the extensions to Tyreek and to Jalen Waddle, especially. Jalen Waddle, 2 receptions, -4 yards, caught the touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 4 receptions, 80 yards, no touchdowns. And Odell Beckham Jr., congratulations. You caught your first pass of the season. You had 3 targets going into this game. You caught 3 passes today for 15 yards, and you almost fumbled the ball away at one point, but you didn't. So improvement with the offensive line. That is one place you could say has definitely improved in a lot of different areas. You got to give them credit. This is a run team now. This is a run first team. We'll see if it's enough throughout the rest of the season, though. Green Bay, we told you, even though it's 24-6 now, don't count this team out. 10 minutes left in the game, and Jordan Love just threw a touchdown pass that his receiver dropped. But I'm telling you, this game is going to end up close. So stick with us. We're going to come back for the final segment of the show. We're going to take you up to 7:30 for tonight's Sunday night game. Minnesota Vikings are going to be playing up against the Colts. Going to be interesting to see the Joe Flacco Colts and how good the Colts really are or aren't after they defeated the Dolphins 16-10. Nonetheless, we're going to lead you into that, but we're going to hear from Mike McDaniel next, and we're going to keep you up to date on what's not a close right now Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers game. Stay tuned. This is Game Day Uncensored on 560 WQAM.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Game Day Uncensored Post-Game Edition.
We keep rolling. Don't be stressed. Y'all know what's online.
Recapping the Fins game. Real reaction, real opinions, real talk for real fans.
That sounds amazing.
On AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Make sure your next Cadillac is backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
Miami Dolphins do lose again today to the Buffalo Bills. They have not won in Buffalo since 2016. It seemed like they had it right there. They seemed like they were the better team, at least today. But then again, Buffalo is Buffalo, and we are the Dolphins. We find a way to lose. Buffalo finds a way to win, at least when it comes to the two of us playing. Final score, 30-27. All it took was a Tyler Bass 61-yard field goal towards the end of the game. Mike McDaniel did not call his final timeout to ice the kicker. He's going to explain why in just a moment. But first, I want to go over some game notes I took real quick. Kind of easy into Mike McDaniel's 10-minute diatribe of whatever he's talking about. Started off with Tua Tagovailoa. Remember this week when he said, oh, people sitting on their couch eating potato chips, talking about me mishandling balls. They need to, get right. Well, he mishandled the ball again, and I can't say it cost him anything, but on the opening drive, they seemed like they had good momentum. He mishandles the snap. It's a sack. 2nd and 17. They're behind the chains. Kind of ended it. Special teams are the special teams. You're just going to have to admit the Dolphins aren't that good at special teams. We had Malik Washington, for some reason, field a punt and run backwards and get tackled. And then they, of course, returned a punt right away after that. No pressure. The defense was pushed around for a little while. They did seem like there was times that the team was getting manhandled, at least up front. Finally, there is a turnover. We got our 3rd turnover of his season. Jalen Ramsey gets a pick. Great job by him. Once again, he was aided by the receiver from Buffalo Bills on a slant, about to score a touch. He would have scored a touchdown too if he caught that. Popping out of his hands, Jalen Ramsey catches it, but give the Dolphins credit. What do good teams do when you make mistakes? They make you pay for it. 97 yards later, Devon Achane on that screen pass. Nice little design play too. Give McDaniel credit. All of a sudden you're thinking, okay. The running game looking good. It's our identity now. From the best show on surf last year to ground and pound. Okay. Buffalo inept at halftime. They had a bunch of holds. They had no offense. We're looking okay. Tua Tagovailoa at halftime, 10 for 11, 82 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen, 12 for 19, 79 yards and an interception. You have 152 yards and 11 first downs at halftime if you're the Dolphins. So the offense is steady and solid. Love that Tua Tagovailoa in this running game's good. And then right when you give kudos to the running game, what happens, Robert Grieper?
You cough it up.
Mostert again, and that's when you say, uh-oh, that's a momentum change. Because what do good teams do when you make mistakes?
Yeah, capitalize on them.
And they did exactly that, scoring 7 points and taking the lead in the game. You felt as though you're going to be playing from behind. They did miss a extra point, so you said, okay, we're down by 2 instead of 3. We drive down, kick a field goal. We're up 13-12. You think maybe that point's going to come back to haunt them? No, don't worry. They drive down the field, get a 2-point conversion. So basically, it's a moot point that they missed that extra point. So you're at 20-13, and you're saying, all right, that Ray Davis 63-yard touchdown pass where they just totally got burnt. Marcus May could have made a tackle, didn't. OBJ almost fumbles the ball. It's not a fumble. You say, okay, maybe things are coming up the Dolphins. Tua gets the big 4th down run. He doesn't get hurt. He dives head first. You're like, okay, we're going to be good. And then once again, they get it. They go for it on 4th down and convert the 4th down. I would have gone for it too. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know what are we doing here? Trying not to lose, or are we trying to win? We obviously can't win here. Let's go out there and let's lose the game. Let's not have them beat us. I was all for going for and just, throwing caution, especially towards the end of the game. Early in the game, no, I don't believe in all that. But, I was saying to you, Grieber, if we score this touchdown, let's go for 2. The only problem is they scored with 1:38 left. If you score with 15 seconds left, you say, okay, go for 2. 1:38 left, that just leaves too much time. And even if you're up by 1, it wouldn't have made a difference because Buffalo would have driven the field and kicked the field goal and won by 2 instead of 3. So still, I like the idea. I don't know. Yeah, you can't handcuff yourself, but I tell you this, Creeper, if they score that touchdown with like 10 seconds or 15 seconds left and they're down by 1 point, I go for 2. Because if you tell me at the beginning of the day, it's going to come down to one play for you to win. You either convert and win or you don't. One play. I take that in Buffalo, against Buffalo.
Not playing for overtime, right?
Not, the old rule, win on the road, go for the win on the road, go for the tie at home. I'd have gone for it. But once again, scoring that early with 1:38, once again, moot point, kick the field goal, kick the extra point. I was scared we were going to miss that extra point too. I ain't going to lie.
Hey, I was there right with you, and you're like, oh no, we're gonna miss this. We're gonna miss this.
So we make it, and then once again, was there? I hate to say it. Was there any doubt that Tyler Bass was gonna make or miss? Did you ever think that Tyler Bass was gonna miss a 61-yard field goal?
Nah, that was gonna be money.
It's not because he's that good. It's because it's Buffalo, it's Miami, and that's the way it's played out for the past 8 years. And there you go. The final score, 30-27, Buffalo wins. They win the season series 2-0. You're way behind now. You're basically in the cellar of the AFC. Your schedule isn't as dangerous as you thought it was ahead of you, but then again, you haven't been able to beat very not good teams anyway. So there you have it. We'll get you a scoreboard in a minute, but let's get to Mike McDaniel. He spoke with the media. He was obligated to after the loss. And of course, the very first question, what were you thinking not calling a timeout to ice the kicker?
Yeah, no, I was prepared for, if it was a miss, getting prepared for the play call to, we would have had it on the 49 or I believe it was 49-yard line. And so getting ready for that. So it was kind of caught me by surprise, just because you're focused on the next play. So, valiant effort. Great job by the Buffalo Bills, and tough place to play. And you got to be error free, and we had some errors.
Did all he could do. What can a defensive back do?
Well, it takes it out of everyone's hands when you go helmet to helmet. So I didn't see it live, but if there's helmet-to-helmet contact, it is what it is. You have to go strike zone, which is below the neck. And, so that they'll call that every time. If that's the case, we'll see it on film.
Your team battled all day long, probably the best game you guys have played. How tough is it to walk off that field, seeing some guy pop a 61-yard field goal at the end of the ball game?
It's tough. Football's full of stuff like that, especially when you're playing a good opponent. And I think the team recognizes that they played a better brand of football. So, the challenge is whether or not that helps or hurts you. And I really believe in all the guys in the locker room to make sure that, although it's difficult, you have to take it for what it is, apply the growth towards the next opponent. I think that's the expectation. That's what we'll be talking about here soon. It's a tough division loss, one that guys strained to try to get, but you have to in this place. If you turn the ball over, which we had one, they have a very high percentage of winning. And it was tough to overcome that.
You still got a lot of games to play. And how does a game like this give your team confidence moving forward and try to get a streak going and get yourself back into this?
Well, you try to simplify that to one game, and you have one game on your schedule and nothing else. And I think it's important that in all seasons people avoid the noise, whether that's good or bad noise, and this is definitely the case where we have to use the effort and utilize the challenge of coming back after losing on last second field goals 2 weeks in a row. So it's not ideal. At the same time, I think from competitors' standpoint, that type of challenge is something that I'm going to be counting on that will motivate our guys to press forward in a difficult time.
Nine different players touched the ball today. That kind of balance, was that a focal point for you guys coming in, or just kind of a product of how Buffalo was playing defense?
No, I think as we've grown together as an offensive unit, finding conviction in things that guys do well, and then you're looking at an opponent that loves to double 10 and 17. So you can either, I used the basketball analogy before. You can either try to split the double or you can get an assist. So there was a lot of guys involved by intention, and I thought Tua played one of his best games that since we've been working together on finding those eligibles and taking what the defense was giving him, and that was a lot of double 10 and 17 for a good amount of the game.
Talking about Tua coming and seeing with this game, it kind of opened up your whole offense today. We saw you do a lot of different things, like play calls, some misdirection plays, a lot of running, successful running, short passes, long passes, kind of everything opened up. It's kind of give you some hope moving forward with this offense to continue to grow.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's there's no moral victories, and so we lost as a team, and you want all three phases to look at it like they could have been the reason that we won. But there is growth, and you do make sure you emphasize that, because you want that to continue. You don't want it to take a step back. I think I was very happy with the challenge presented that Buffalo presents defensively. I was very happy with Tua's decision making, his ball placement, and his overall conviction. And I thought nobody on the sidelines throughout the entire game really wavered, and that was important too, considering that we really had a lot to play for, and guys wanted this one bad. So this will hurt, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing in the big picture. It just depends on what you do with it. So I think the guys are motivated. Didn't see it coming down like this, but at the same time, you have to hunker down as a unit and come together and continue to progress, because we did show some progress, albeit not enough. Yeah, no, it was all based upon kind of the clock and, how much time we were going to leave them. And I think on a 2nd and 10, Tua progressed to number 5 in the progression, which was Devon Achane, and he got an explosive as a result. And that kind of changed the math. But we were prepared to go for 2 in a certain time situation. Just felt like there was too much time left.
Mike, what is your take on what play is called and an aggressive penalty there on Jordan Poyer on 3rd down at the end of the game?
No, it's something that you have to play aggressive in this game for success. I have no doubt that the intentionality was appropriate. Poe's a gigantic player for our team and has been phenomenal really, really helping us take another step in how we prepare, how we play, how we communicate, all that. But he knows himself that you take it out of your hands and put it in the officials' hands the second you don't hit the strike zone. So if you hit the strike zone, it's unfortunate. But if you didn't, that's going to get called every time because that's against the rules. Yeah, no, he got he had I don't really know. I believe it was a kick, but they had to bandage some stuff on his shin. And then when you are down, you have to come out for one play. He was ready to go back in, but based upon rules, we had to wait a play before he did. No, I thought he was running really well. We talk about it all the time, but defenders from pursuit, the guys you can't see are what you're most vulnerable to. And we can't, he's got to fix that. I think I appreciated his effort. I thought he ran as hard as he's ran all season. I thought it was a big part of our success, but we can't turn the ball over, especially to that team, and expect to win the football game. So. Yeah, I think it was more about walk than anything else. We needed to get him on the field a little bit more, and something that we collectively thought gave us the best chance to win against this particular opponent, which is the compass for all decisions made on all playing time is from the team perspective. And I thought before watching the tape, it seemed like he added some value to the whole defense. But we'll check out his play when I comb the tape here coming on the flight.
Mike McDaniel speaking with the media following a 30-27 loss to the Buffalo Bills. Couple of things that stood out. The reason he didn't call a timeout to ice the kicker is he says he kind of got caught off guard. He was thinking about the next play and not the one that would have won the game. That's not a good answer. That is, you do not want your head coach saying, I got caught off guard and I was thinking about the next play, so I didn't call a timeout to ice the kicker. And when stuff like that happens, is there not someone on the sideline? Yo, Coach Mike, Coach McDaniel, call a damn timeout.
Is there like a quality control guy, the guy who goes over and makes sure that players don't go on the field that shouldn't be going on the field, and that coaches actually challenge things and coaches actually do things that they're supposed to do and pay attention?
The equipment manager, the
Quality
water girl.
I don't know.
Coach, you don't want to call a timeout here? You don't have to go to their faces in the back row. Coach, you don't want to call a timeout here? Ice the kicker. Like, no one is that boggles my mind. Was he so wrapped up in possibly getting the ball back on a missed kick that he forgot to call a timeout? I hope he was just saying that.
Well, he had a plan for that great play call that they had with 5 seconds left to go.
It would have been on 49. I mean, it worked last week with Jaden Daniels, so we'll give it that. Also, when asked about the Jordan Poyer penalty, I didn't see it live. What were you doing? He literally said, I did not see it live, so I don't know if I can comment on it. What? Are you coaching the game? Are you watching the game?
Obviously not. That's 2 plays he didn't watch.
And I didn't just hear that. I got texts from people saying, was he in a bag of chips? What was he doing? Like, the critical point in the game, you're not watching the play. Okay.
Hey, wait a second. Maybe he was eating the potato chips that Tua was talking about.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. That might be a sling. Or maybe he was thinking about the next play, how they were going to stop him on 4th down. Too busy caught up in the next play.
I mean, I hope they were a good bag of chips. I mean,
I know.
Maybe Zaps. I mean, get some good old voodoo chips. I mean,
Team needs to be a little less heavy on the chips and a little more heavy on the scoreboard. And last but not least, actually, this is a positive. He did basically say that the plan was to go for 2 at the end of the game. There was just too much time on the clock. And I agree with that. You and I both agreed. I said, I'd go for 2. You said, yeah, there's no point if you score right now. We scored with 1:38 left. He's like, time and situation. Yeah, the time and situation didn't dictate going for 2, because what would have happened is the exact same thing, except you would have lost by 2 instead of 3, because you would have, if you'd have made the 2-point conversion, well, then you'd have been up by 1, but then you'd have had to kick off. They'd have gotten it on the 30, which they did, and the game would have played out with a 61-yard field goal. Tough one right there, man. Tough one right there for our Miami Dolphins. Before we go, though, let's take a look around the league. I promised you that Green Bay Detroit game would tighten up, and it has tightened up, but it's over. The Detroit Lions lead 24-14. Green Bay did get a touchdown. They did not get the onside kick. The Lions have a first down with 2 minutes left in the game, and the Packers are pretty much dead. They're on life support. Something crazy could happen. It's not. Rams had a 103-yard interception return for a touchdown. Good thing I have that defense on my fantasy league. They're up on the Seahawks 20-13 with 3:45 left. Eagles, Jaguars. Hold your breath. The Jaguars have the ball with 50 seconds left. They are down 28-23. You want to see how Trevor Lawrence is doing? Mr. Big Payday? Ugh. If you're angry about Tua getting paid, get a hold of this stat line for a 2-6 team. That might be 2-7 at the end of the day. Trevor Lawrence, 16 for 31, 169 yards, and he's decided to throw it to the other team not once but twice today. We want our money back is what Jacksonville. Well, there's not really a lot of Jacksonville Jaguar fans nonetheless. Cardinals, maybe the Cardinals are better than we thought they were. 29-9 against the Chicago Bears. Cardinals were at home in that game. Bears probably still reeling from that Hail Mary last week that they got put on them by the Commanders. Ravens, they took care of the Broncos. We're a little worried about the Ravens after a loss last week. The Broncos have been playing pretty good. Bo Nix looks like he might actually know how to play football. He is 75 years old. He should know. Ravens win 41-10. Derrick Henry becomes just the 10th player in NFL history to have 100 or more rushing touchdowns. He has been resurrected by a program and an organization that knows how to put players in the right position, a.k.a. Tyler Huntley comes in as a backup and wins games. Years ago, though, for Lamar Jackson, almost wins a playoff game with him. Comes here, looks like he's never played the position of quarterback in his life, but, that's just neither here nor there. Bengals, man, every week I'll live or die with, I still believe in the Bengals. They're about to put it together. Well, they put it together today against the Raiders team that I thought was going to be better this year. Bengals win 41-24. Don't look now. The Bengals are 4-5. 4-5. I'm just saying, if they go on a little roll, you might see them. You might see them make a little run. And in the Bengals, if there's anybody that Patrick Mahomes every once in a while might wake up at night and go, ooh. It's Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Everybody else, easy business. One person and one team puts just a little bit, not a lot, outside of Brittany Mahomes in Patrick Mahomes' heart. It is his brother Jackson is an awful terror too, but nonetheless, football-wise, it is the Bengals and Joe Burrow. They're made to play Kansas City. They played it really good earlier this year. Kansas City lucked out and got that win. Falcons, everyone keeps telling me they're a good team. I still don't buy it, but hey, they beat the Cowboys 27-21 today. That was in ATL. Titans, congratulations. They get their second win of the year. Their 2 wins are over the Dolphins and Tyler Huntley. And today they beat the Patriots and Drake May 20-17 in overtime, by the way. The Browns coming back down to being one of the worst teams in the world with Jameis Winston. The Chargers beat them 27-10. Don't look now. Chargers are 5-3 with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. J.K. Dobbins toting the rock. They're okay. A lot of people say, oh, you'll see how bad they are. I don't believe in Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Commanders, those Giants are really, really bad. The Commanders are really, really good. The Commanders pretty much in cruise control all day. They're 7-2 now, defeating the 2-7 New York Giants 27-22. Daniel Jones. Once again, we'll do it again. Could have had Saquon Barkley or Daniel Jones. Organization decided Daniel Jones. You think organizations have a hand in their wins and losses? Yeah, I think so. Ask the Carolina Panthers. You have a choice. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. Yeah, they chose Bryce Young. It worked out for him today. They beat the Saints. Oh, the Saints are terrible. 23-22. And tonight, I'm excited. I'm going to go, get in some, I don't know, beers and maybe some brownies and watch this Vikings-Colts game at 8:20. My dude, Nathan and Giuseppe. Nathan loves the Vikings. The Colts, I want to see if they're better with Joe Flacco. They did beat us. We'll see. And then Monday night, 8:15, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wonder how that game's going to go. Reaper, what do you think? Give me a strong prediction.
I'm going to go 42-21 Chiefs.
I'm going to tell you, if hope springs eternal, I think the Dolphins, have, even though they lost today, have turned a corner and will make it happen Monday night. Not this Monday, but the next against the LA Rams. And Reaper and I will be back with you for the postgame show. Once again, today, a loss again to the Bills, 30-27. For Robert Grieper, I am Dan Day. Thank you so much for joining us on Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Later, Slug.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy inventory, all backed by Morse at Edmore Sawgrass.